And now it's time for the 2024 Knocker Awards. Here are two guys that need no introduction. Yeah, they do. Please welcome NESTLEmania and JC.
It is now our favorite time of the year. That's right, folks. It's time for the 2024 Knocker Awards.
Raise a glass and let's celebrate the year 2024 in the only way we know how, and that is with giving out our golden Knockies, NESTLEmania. I got a nice glass of Cabernet Sauvignon from Argentina here today to celebrate. It's the closest I can get to the future of Lucha Libre, which, Dragon Lee, not nominated for anything this year, but maybe next year, because he is the future. He's not yet the present.
Yeah, he'll be the future endeavored. That's what he'll be. Anyway, listen, there's a lot to get to. This is literally one of the funnest things we do on this program every year.
Oh, you're starting off great.
Listen, I don't have
Grammar Troll. Joe, get him.
No, he's not it. We just have too much fun on this. We've got 22. That's right, 22 awards. It expanded. Thank TJ and thank JC. Or
thank Taylor Swift for making that a good number, and Emmett Smith.
That's true. But
special number to JC's heart with both of those.
Yeah, well, I guess it's hashtag TJC, right? So that's what you guys are. So
cheers to that.
They are the knocker committee, so to speak, I guess. If you don't have the foreign press, you've just got the TJC. So it is what it is. But anyway, we've got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into. We've got a lot of discussion and debate to go. So I say, Michael, let's kick the festivities off. Give us our first category, Michael.
Super hot fire moment of the year. Cody Rhodes finishing the story at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes wins back-to-back Royal Rumbles. Roman Reigns returns at SummerSlam. Sting wins his final match.
Pew, 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 pew. Super hot fire! You heard the nominees from Michael there, NESTLEmania. I will say, 50% Cody Rhodes. I mean, quite the year for Cody Rhodes. He's going to be, much like last year, all over these Golden Knocker Awards. Not just because me and TJ are kind of, like you said, the committee before we give it to the overseer, Mr. NESTLEmania here, but because Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes. And yeah, finishing the story at WrestleMania, winning back-to-back Royal Rumbles was huge. But was it bigger than that great tribal moment at SummerSlam when Roman Reigns returned after being defeated by Cody at WrestleMania? He returns at SummerSlam in one of the most incredible pops we've ever seen. And then, of course, there is an AEW nominee. Rough year for them. They will be well represented much later in the program, but Sting's final match. They did a couple farewells this year, and this was the one they seemed to nail. So, NESTLEmania, what are your first impressions in this category?
Well, it's Cody Mania. I don't know why you guys love Cody so much, but there it is.
Everyone loves Cody, bro.
I mean, Roman Reigns OTC over the counter with the fisting. It was amazing. He's back. And then, of course, we got Sting. If Tony Schiavone was here, I can't yell because the kids are trying to sleep. So you can do the Sting if you want to yell. Listen, personally, if I was Dom, I'd pick Sting, right? But I'm not Dom. So I'm gonna disqualify Sting.
Fourth place. Which is nice. This is the best thing of the year. He comes in fourth place. That's pretty damn good.
I'm going to put Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble at 3 for me.
Okay, fair. I have it at 2, but fair.
Because you're Cody, although we got Roman Reigns returning at SummerSlam is my 2, and I will give finishing the story to Cody Rhodes as the super hot fire moment, getting my golden knocker, because honestly, it's an all-timer. It's an all-timer. We're going to remember that the rest of our lives. The grand entrances and the whole, like the last 5 minutes of that entire thing was amazing. And then him getting with all the baby faces at the end, it felt like a new day, no pun intended. And it felt like a big deal in a lot of ways. So I am going to begrudgingly give it to the finishing of the story because, well, he finished the story.
Super hot fire moment of the year. Super hot fire moment of the decade. Super hot fire moment of the millennia. Maybe one of the greatest, if not the greatest moments in wrestling history, at least for me. It was definitely up there. I think for many people, it was very special. It was the culmination of the entire Cody story that started before he left, when he came back, this and that and everything. So yeah, it is by far the number one moment of 2024. But NESTLEmania, like you said, we got more categories. So Michael, hit me with the next one.
Best story. Cody Rhodes versus the Bloodline. Mariah May turning on Tony Storm. Rhea Liv Dom love triangle. Trick Mello gang breakup.
It was the night before the knockers, and all through the house not a creature was jobbing, not even JC the mouse. It's time for the best story, as you can see. We've got plenty of stories. JC, let's run down these beautiful stories, shall we?
Let's hear it. I'm all ears.
We've got Cody Rhodes versus the Bloodline. Mariah May turning on Toni Storm. Rhea Liv Dom Triangle. And Trick Mellow Gang breakup. What do you think is the best story?
So I thought there was obviously a lot of good stories here in 2024 in WrestleMania. You notice, obviously, there's 3 WWE here and 1 AEW, but by far, I think we all agree, the best story of the year in AEW was the Mariah May Toni Storm saga, which I think is a legit contender here. Obviously, Cody Rhodes and the Bloodline, you're going to hear about that stuff a lot. It was, it was something that, yes, it culminated this year, but it obviously went well beyond this year and everything else. But this part of the story was such a great one with the Great One's involvement and everything there that he had to overcome. The love triangle, it's kind of still going on here with Rhea, Liv, and Dom, but, it's had its moments. And the Trick Mellow Gang, it was a long time ago in spring, so people might not remember it as well, but it was great. But for me, WrestleMania, it comes down to the first two here. It's Cody and the Bloodline and Mariah May, Toni Storm. I'm curious your take.
Well, I tend to agree that Trick and Mellow, although a nice job that they did, I do believe this is number 4 for me because, again, the other 3 were so prominent throughout the entire year for the rest of the year. I'm going to give Rhea and Liv Dom 3. I think it's coming down to Cody and Mariah for me.
We're on the same page.
I would say this much, Paige.
Yeah, like a book.
Like the
I have like 20 books behind me. See, I actually have a bookcase. There's actually books in it.
You don't read.
I read
though,
sometimes. I mean, I haven't. There's a book in there that I started 2 years ago that I haven't touched in 2 years. So.
That's why I do audiobooks. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw AEW a bone here because I loved it. I'm gonna say when it comes to the best story from January to December, I'm going to pick Toni Storm and Mariah May getting my golden knocker, if you get my drift, and everything else that comes glamorously with it. So
watch out for the shoe. No, I mean, that's great. And I'm glad you gave it to them, WrestleMania, because then I don't have to. I can give yet another golden knocker here to Cody and the Bloodline because this story was amazing. It culminated, goes right along with moment of the year. So, yeah, there we go. We're splitting up the knockers in this category, which, sometimes that's okay. But, Michael, you know what's even better? Hit me with the next category.
Rivalry of the year. Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. Jada Parker and Lola Vice. Logan Paul and LA Knight.
Some call us rivals, and we all know who owns this rivalry. It's me, it's JRC. Stands for jerk, but I'm not a jerk. You are. But yeah, WrestleMania rivalries. You heard Michael just list off. We had some good ones this year, whether it was the match series with Andrade and Melo, the blood feud with McIntyre and Punk, kind of a blood feud, like fun thing with Jada Parker and Lola Vice, and then, of course, Logan Paul and LA Knight. Yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff in this category. I think this is a really tough one to call. As you can see, I have put on the CM Punk shirt because that's the way I'm leaning WrestleMania, because I thought, obviously, Drew and Punk really elevated it. We talked about how this was something that could main event some of these shows because it got that good. I think the matches lived up. It's something that I think it's something beyond even 2024 that I'm going to remember. I loved all of these, though. I think this is a very strong category this year. We talked about like the 7 series with Melo and Andrade and stuff. And I thought Logan Paul, LA Knight, but from LA Knight going to his house in Puerto Rico to everything else, they had a really fun feud, something we're looking forward to. But I'm really strongly leaning to McIntyre and CM Punk, but I'm curious your take.
Well, I did. The thing is when I think of rivalry, I think of something that will stand the test of time. Something that will absolutely stick with me, kind of like, you just can stick with me, even though you don't want to. And all I'm thinking about is that the 7 series between Andrade and Melo was good, was great. I liked it, but it felt more sports oriented. It didn't feel like there was a personal issue. I think the other 3 have a personal issue. So I'm going to make that 4th because I feel like there wasn't too much of a personal issue there. That's just me. But I'm gonna move on to the others. I didn't enjoy Logan Paul versus LA Knight it didn't feel as long in my head. Maybe it was longer. I can't remember, but it feels like he just did it for a little bit, like maybe a month and change. So
there was a lot leading into it before they actually got into it, like hints at it and like promo. Because obviously you remember Logan being part-time there and that, but it definitely heated up towards the end. But yeah.
I just didn't feel like it gave me the gusto. I'm looking for gusto.
Let's put our cards on the table. You don't like LA Knight, so I'm surprised you didn't put this 4, honestly.
New Year's resolution for me: hate on LA Knight less. Not gonna happen.
To that,
but I'll try. Hate on LA Knight less and be nicer. One of those two will happen.
The first one, maybe. The second one, no chance. That's what you got.
No pants in hell. Look,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's an oldie from a goodie from somebody else. So can't be me if it's funny, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Jada Parker doing the thing. I feel like I'm gonna dislocate my shoulder every time I try. But she's super hot fire. Lola, I think we're just getting into the rivalry right now. I feel like we're cooking right now.
It's 1-1, so it's not culminated. Yeah.
I feel like we're still in the middle of it. So for that, I will disqualify it for rivalry of the year. I am giving it to Drew and Punk only because this thing did not stop. I mean, the gas pedal was on since he got injured at the Royal Rumble in January, and it just ended in October. So you look at January to October, that's almost a full calendar year. It didn't really let up. There were weeks where it breathed. It felt like when it might have just slowed down a little bit. And there were only 3 matches, but they made it work with just the lead up of Punk beating him up, being the fucking thorn in his side.
Costing each other chances, opportunities, the money in the bank. Like there was connective tissue, like you said, throughout pretty much the entire year, which obviously helps when we do a yearly show. If you start something in January and end towards the end of the year, that gives you a big leg up. This certainly, I agree, deserves it. I was leaning that way. I will officially give my golden knocker to them as well. We're on the same page with this one, Adam.
Well, Joshua, I will say this much.
Who the fuck is Joshua?
All I'll say is this. If you don't understand this, I don't think you understand wrestling. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this rivalry isn't done, but it's also going to continue.
Peter Griffin and the Chicken?
Oh, yeah. I think any chance they get, they're going to. And I think this is going to be a rivalry we talk about like a Rock and Austin, a John Cena, Orton kind of thing. Like, I just feel like this is a generational feeling that I get. And maybe Rollins and Punk, but I feel like Punk and McIntyre have like this feeling that I can't ignore. It's just good stuff.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay, fine. Michael, let's shine this next category up, shall we?
Male Superstar of the Year: Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay.
Male Superstar of the Year, folks. This is going to be, I don't know, it feels like a landslide for JC here, but I'm going to debate it myself because, I mean, it might as well just be a foregone conclusion. Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Swerve Strickland, and Will Ospreay. Two from AEW.
Half WWE, half AEW, Nestle.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Over there? We did not nominate Max Caster.
No, because he hasn't been the best rapper or wrestler alive ever. But that's just what it is. When you scissor, you cut. Anyway, or you scissor. Anyway, so there's a lot to go here on. I think all of them had a great calendar year. I think, unfortunately, because of our bias, or at least my bias, there is a little AEW stank on some stuff there. But I think if I had to pick between Swerve and Will, I would pick Swerve because he was world champion. He was killing it. He had some of the greatest.
He beat Will head to head. If you go,
yes, he did.
The literal tiebreakers.
Yes, that's true. I think Will should be the guy that we talk about. Will Ospreay should be the guy, but he's not. And I don't know if he'll ever be the guy. Honestly, it's crowded up there, folks. So I don't know.
No, there is an opening for him. Tony just needs to open the door like he opens his nose to new things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does he like air fresheners? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, potpourri.
Well, that's what it is. So I'm going to break it down. In my opinion, it's Cody or Gunther, in my opinion. Now, Gunther won the world title at SummerSlam, but was on a tear up until then.
The IC title through up till WrestleMania that culminated his dominant reign.
Won the King of the Ring.
He did.
Cody Rhodes just won the WWE title, and that's it. So,
yeah,
you know.
Only won the WWE title and defended it all year and was the biggest draw in wrestling. Only, yeah.
I'm just saying
Only.
on an achievement. Oh, you know what? I'll even throw in the crown jewel big fat ring thing.
Yeah, he literally beat Gunther for playing the head-to-head game, WrestleMania. Come on. This is an easy one. Golden Knocker, Cody Rhodes, second year in a row. Could be the third year in a row. I don't even fucking remember, but I have adrenaline in my soul. Something, something. Cody Rhodes gets the Golden Knocker because he's the GOAT. Whoa! Maybe in 2025, someone like Will Ospreay or a Gunther or a Braun Breaker could dethrone him, but 2024 was the year of Cody Rhodes. He won the moment of the year. He was part of the story of the year for me. Cody is cleaning up in these shine categories. I'm wearing the Nightmare merch for this category for a reason, WrestleMania. Easy knocker for me. What say you?
I'm saying that you're too much of a homer.
It's not true. He's the biggest star in wrestling.
You are so far up Cody Rhodes' ass. Your hair is platinum blonde.
I wish. Right? I wish my head was up Cody's ass.
Yeah, well, that's disgusting.
We would all be so lucky to have it be up that sphincter of greatness.
Talk about an American nightmare, am I right? This is what
man.
I'm going to give it to Gunther because he was the IC champion. He was the king of the ring. He is the world heavyweight champion.
Cody Rhodes head-to-head.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because here's the thing.
Doesn't matter.
Here's the thing. Cody Rhodes' trajectory after he won feels like he's kind of plateaued, in my opinion. He's still doing great.
Number one. Oh, that's kind of what happens because WrestleMania, where do you go when you're number one? You just stay up there?
You just stay up there. You just stay. Progression. I'm looking for progression, JC. Just because I didn't
know progression award. Listen, this is the male superstar of the year, not the male progression of the year award.
Listen, all I'm
fucking clown.
Listen, I will say this much. Don't ever call me a clown. Secondly,
you're gonna die, clown.
Listen to me. I don't care if your hair is gelled and you've got shades on. You are not going to take this away from me because you get yours, I get mine. That's how it works. I get yours, you'll get mine.
Mine's
right?
greater than yours, so it's fine.
Doesn't matter. It's the same weight.
Mine costs 2/10.
It's not like
cost 2/10.
It's not like one is bigger than the other. It's not like one is bigger than the other.
I got a Magnum in my fridge. Do you?
Why would a Magnum be in your fridge and not in your bureau?
Sometimes it goes in my mouth. That sweet, sweet Chick-fil-A sauce. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is awkward. Anyway, I'm going to give it to Gunther because I think on the achievement level, here's the thing too. I felt like there were holes in Gunther's game. I don't think there's any holes in his game anymore. I think his promos are even better than his matches sometimes. His matches are fucking stellar. He's the cornerstone of Monday Night Raw. And for the added bonus in the the WrestleMania category here, he uplifted. He took a title that meant absolutely nothing, essentially, and has now made it sniffing close to the conversation of that piss yellow title that Cody hosted.
Yeah, but it's not. You're giving
I'm just
him.
saying.
That's the thing. You're giving this as an improvement award.
No, I'm not giving it.
That's not what it is. It is male superstar of the year.
He was the
male
best.
Superstar of 2024 is Cody Rhodes. Gunther, great number 2, perfect number 2, better number 2 than Seth Rollins was last year, who probably wasn't even number 2 for us. We think when Drew McIntyre or something was number 2. This is Cody's award. Everything you said is erroneous. That's so much so that you're done. You're done, WrestleMania, because Michael, I believe we're getting to the opposite sex of male in the next category.
Female Superstar of the Year: Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Toni Storm.
Thank you very much, Michael. As you heard there, we just gave out Male Superstar of the Year. Michael just ran down the list of exquisite females of 2024 in WrestleMania. And look, there's some connective tissue here with those first 2 nominees in Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley because Liv Morgan took everything from Rhea Ripley. Does that factor into our decision? Find out soon. Roxanne Perez, one of the most dominant NXT Women's Champions of all time. Arguably, she might be in another category coming up here in a couple as well. So
in the meat category, right? Yep, of course.
In the meat superstar of the year, Roxanne Perez. But then also in WrestleMania, AEW's lone nominee, Toni Storm. Obviously, the character work was unmatched, but was it good enough to give her the top spot of the females of 2024? We find out now when Nestle gives his takes.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'm automatically this is where TJ is going to go erroneous. I'm going to disqualify Roxanne Perez because I don't believe that she's on the same level as the other 3 in terms of being a character yet. She's been good.
I agree with that. But I don't know if I agree with that anymore, Adam.
Listen. This is just me. I'm also not going to give it to Rhea Ripley because I don't
She's
believe
my 4.
This would not be a Rhea Ripley year, in my opinion. I think next year or the year previously was her year. I think.
But would you say like the first, like, I don't know, like when did Liv win that title? Was it around
SummerSlam?
So I would say the first 6-7 months of this year was a Rhea Ripley year, but it just like is what Liv did the last 5 months. Was it enough to usurp Rhea and kind of take that spot from her? I think it was. I'm not saying Liv won, but for me, I'm putting Rhea Ripley at 4 because I do kind of agree with what you're saying that, you know, it's one of those like Rhea had this great year, but then was completely torn down. We have to factor in the last 5 months of her being torn down and literally everything. Title, boyfriend, time with injury was taken away by Liv Morgan. That has to be a factor. So I agree. She is my number 4 and she's your number 3. Who do you have at 2 and 1, Adam?
This is the hardest part because I'm trying to look at, to be fair, when did Toni Storm versus, Mariah May happen? Because I feel like that's probably going to.
Tony's been gone a few months. She just resurfaced here the last couple weeks.
Right. So I feel like in theory, I have to know for sure what happens because in my head, I don't know if it was an All Out London, right? Yes, All Out London. So that was August, right?
That's a long time she's been away.
Technically, if you're looking at this, because it's Mariah and Liv, in my opinion, it's interesting. It's half moon here because it was Toni from January to August, but it was Liv August to December. So it feels like we got halves and halves here. So it's very interesting to me. I will say this much. Toni Storm's character, in my opinion, was one of the best characters I've ever seen in wrestling. No hyperbole here. I think that unfortunate that character is in AEW and not WWE. It would have been even bigger, I think, personally. But that doesn't necessarily negate the fact that she had great chemistry with people. I don't really think that she had the dance partners to make her the superstar of the year, in my opinion. And like you laid out, Liv Morgan has been a virtual unknown from NXT doing the yo Jersey armpit stuff to going all the way to Riot, to all these other things that she did, to getting injured, to all this other stuff, to almost being fired. So for me, I feel like this was Liv Morgan's year. There's no doubt about it in my mind. She's got Dom. She's got the worst fashion sense big monster with Raquel Rodriguez next to her. And of course, she did a lot of it on her own with the Oblivion. Her character work is second to none. I think she's better on the mic than she is in the ring, but she's pretty good in the ring as well. So, but she can carry a fucking show. And I think that's important when you're a superstar. Can you carry the show? And I look at the rest of these women. Yes, they can carry a show, but not like Liv Morgan has in 2024. She gets my golden knocker.
So this is one of the closest categories for me, if not the closest category with those top 3. I think this is an incredible race. Obviously on 3 different shows, 3 types of things. I think slightly I'm going to put Toni Storm at 3 because she definitely plateaued at a point this year. And I think with AEW, with like strength of schedule and stuff like that, it has to be factored in just because it's just such a different thing. And a lot of her work was with Mariah May. And that was obviously heavily featured. It got your knocker in another category and was a runner-up for me. So she will be a slight 3. But like I said, these top 3 are close. So for me, it comes down to Roxanne and Liv. Because look, at everything you said about Liv is true. And that's what makes it so hard for me. Because I think 2024, Liv Morgan, if we were talking true superstars of the year, I think she's a nominee in that category. But the reason why I think you're insane for disqualifying Roxanne Perez in WrestleMania is because she obviously has the longevity. But the thing with Roxy is she has fucking bangers with everyone. The amount of, if we listed like matches this year, she would blow people out of the water in terms of women. So she has that. Her character work has been a work in progress. I think the heel turn has gone well and she's gotten better and better and she's been dominant. Do I expect her to lose to Julia in a few weeks in January? Probably, but it makes sense because I think it's about time for her to go to the next level. But we talk about NXT being the best weekly show. We talk about NXT having the best women's division in wrestling. Who's the face of that? Who's been the face of that? Who's been the undisputed champion of that? It's Roxanne Perez in WrestleMania. And for that, I'm giving my 2024 female superstar of the year golden knocker to Roxanne Perez in one of the tightest races for JC, slightly over Liv Morgan, slightly over Toni Storm. But I think 2024, in terms of women, it was the year of Roxanne. And she proved to me that even though, despite, I know you're a little bit of a size shamer, and there's a lot of size shamers out there, she can overcome because of how good she is. And look at, man, you say I don't watch matches. I've seen a lot of her matches, and they are banger. after banger after banger. So we're split on this one, Nestlemania, but like we said, this is a very competitive category.
I have never been more disappointed in you in my life.
Oh, that's not true at all. I mean, I'm actually disappointed in you because it was the best show weekly. With the best women's division.
That's nothing to do with it.
The best matches weekly.
Nothing to do with it.
The best reign weekly. Oh, no. All these things that are literally a factor for how
she's not a superstar yet because nobody. She's in the developmental. She's in developmental. There's a whole host of the WWE universe that doesn't know who she is.
Be nominated for anything.
That's true.
Even though it's the best show with the best stories, with some of the best wrestling, some of the best characters. You are absolutely insane.
You're insane.
This should be the JC only show. I should give out 2 sets of golden knockers. You should give out 0 because you are erroneous. And you know what? Speaking of doubles, I think we have some troubles coming up with the next category in terms of doubles. Michael, hit us.
Tag Team of the Year. Fraxium. FTR. Judgment Day. Priest and Balor. Young Bucks.
Tag Team of the Year. This, in my opinion, is the hardest category out of the 22 to pick, because I'll be honest with the JC, this was not a banner year for tag teams.
Yeah, you just heard the list. It's like, that's it. But think about it, guys. That's the best we could do.
I'm gonna let you go first because, in my opinion, I'm going to bow to you and say you're more of a tag team specialist than I am when it comes to the expertise of tag team wrestling. So I'd like to hear your, your stuff, and then maybe I'll be swayed one way or the other.
Well, this is insane when I look at this category, because to me, this was one of the easiest picks on the board. And it's insane with who I'm going to pick. Someone that I have, one half of this team I have shit on every fucking time I see him in his stupid fucking entrance. But this, spoiler alert, not a spoiler alert, my golden knocker is going to Fraxium, and it's not close, Nestlemania. Because when I look at the body of work this year, Fraxium has had a dominant reign. They have fucking banner after banner after banner in a division where it's like, yeah, it's a little thin, but it doesn't matter. They have fought everyone. They have beat everyone. They've been involved in stories. And look, I like Nathan Frazier. I think his character has really developed really well this year. I enjoy him kind of as a cocky little shit. I mean, he literally is a mini Seth Rollins, but to me, he's cooler. And God, I get so fucking triggered. They play his awesome entrance song, and then they fucking change it to this math motherfucker with the stupid glossy bullshit. And I'm like, God damn it. Axiom sucks. Take the fucking mask off this guy. But they keep it on, and it's crazy. A guy that I shit on all year, runaway knocker. Because look, I'll quickly mention the other ones here. FTR. My favorite tag team in the world, Nestlemania, but let's be real. They haven't had a great year. They're literally here because they're just good and there's nobody else. We look at Judgment Day, but it's not Finn and JD who don't defend it. It's Finn and Priest who were the tag champs at the beginning of the year. Was their reign great? Not really, but they did have some good matches. They were effective. They were entertaining. They were on our TV. So in terms of picking a top 4, they're in there. Honestly, they might be my number 2. Young Bucks, not a great year by their standards either, but they were kind of around. They kind of ran that division, even though they didn't do much, but they're still the Young Bucks. They were part of that Sting moment. They were still involved in a lot of things. They still had a lot of banners. So to me, it's Fraxium 1, Fraxium 2, and then I'll put Young Bucks / Judgment Day, I guess at 3 tie, and then FTR way down the bottom, but it's just like, we got to fill the category. So yeah, for me, it's Fraxium, and it was easy.
You know, the more you talk about this, the more I'm upset. I'm upset with all 4 of these teams, I'll be honest.
But it's fucking true. You know it's true. You think I like giving Axiom a golden knocker? This fucking math nerd? Get the fuck out of here, but I have to.
Because it's my show, too. Can I just go off the board and pick a different tag team?
Like who?
I was going to give it to Jade and
Jade
and
What else is shit on everyone?
Tag teams. They're a tag team. They're a tag team.
They were almost nominated, but it was just like, then you look at this, like, they
have nobody to face.
They literally lost the titles. It's just like, it's a fucking mess. This category is a mess, and I'm hopeful that in 2025 it won't be a mess. But for this year, some might say it's Fraxium, and that's why Fraxium gets the knocker.
I wanted to give it to Jade and Bianca, but I will not. I wanted to go off the board, but I will give it to Fraxium only because consistency, unfortunately, ekes out of just being a warm body at this point. So There we are. Fraxium, I can't believe the math guy got 2 sets, or I guess a set of the Golden Knockers. I mean, I hate him. I've never seen somebody in a mask that I hate more than Axiom.
That's not true. Enter Dragon League. Commander? We're on the same page with that.
Hologram? I don't know. Like,
this
anybody.
is a shine category, and we're literally like, oh my god. But you know what? Fraxium, they deserve it. For people that we literally didn't want to like and had no expectations for, they over-delivered. And by that simple fact, they're getting our knockers.
All right, Michael, let's cleanse the palate. Let's get something new here, bud.
Best Champion. Cody Rhodes, WWE. Oba Femi, North American. Rhea Ripley, Women's World Championship. Roxanne Perez, NXT Women's Champion.
Ain't no way they can stop me now. Nelly, I've been on my way. I can see my day. WrestleMania. Heart of a champion. WWE, the goal is to win championships. And those 4 superstars you just heard from Michael had great reigns, dominant reigns, whether it was because of matches, dominance, character work, what it was, but their reigns were worthy of being nominated for some golden knockers. But WrestleMania, who stood out from the rest as the best champion of 2024? I give the floor to you.
I cannot believe we don't have anybody from AEW.
Well, who was a good champion in AEW this year? I'll wait. Exactly.
I know, I'm just saying
character work, but she wasn't a great champion because there was no one to fight.
I mean,
the world title was flopped around like a fucking fish. Swerve's reign was better than we thought, but it was short. Wasn't much to it.
Daniel
MJF,
Bryan,
Samoa
Knox,
Joe.
no.
You want to talk TNT or TBS champion? I don't think so.
I mean, Christian Cage had it for a while, right? Or I don't know.
It was fine, but was it a good reign? Do you remember anything from it? I certainly don't. Now you know me. I love Christian Cage.
Okay, all right. No need to get hot. No, hey,
I'm just saying.
Hey.
I'm just saying.
Hey, no need to get hot about it. I'm just saying.
I'm hot in WrestleMania because look I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been changing the shirt for every category. Oh, we're in the same one.
Yeah, that way you can go
orange and black attack, baby. Gardner colors.
That's right. You could go to tpublic.com/jobberknocker to go pick up your JKP t-shirts or your mugs, your tapestries, whatever you want. Maybe a pillowcase, maybe a glass of wine. If there's a cup, there's probably a coffee mug or some type of tumbler you can buy. I'm just going to just whore it out all day long. When I think of a champion, Cody Rhodes is the face of the company. That belt is synonymous with Cody Rhodes. Oba Femi with the boom, boom, boom. When I think of that, he's the longest reigning NXT North American champion.
He beat everyone.
He's a fucking
Even
stud.
though he beat him first.
I mean, like, god damn, did he have quite a run.
What do I say about WrestleMania? He's a fucking unit.
And then there's Rhea Ripley, like we talked about, gold standard when it comes to the whole championship reign there. And of course, Roxanne Perez, as JC already picked previously, in a different golden knocker. I think she held it down as well. However, I'm going to say Rhea Ripley didn't really have the championship all year. She's my 4th. Roxanne Perez, she's my 3rd because I just don't think she's there and she did a good job. But there's something about it where I feel like these other two. I'm not a thigh shamer. No, I'm not. Stop promoting me as that because I'm not. God damn it. I'm tiny too, you know.
Exactly. That's what makes it so egregious.
What do you think it is? A Napoleon Nestle complex? Is that what it is, huh? I don't think so.
It definitely is. I'm glad you gave me that because there you go. Hashtag brand it Napoleon Nestle complex. NNC.
Great. Can't wait for the Photoshop. And then we've got, of course, Oba Femi and Cody Rhodes. I'm going to pick a wild card here. I'm going to pick Oba Femi getting my golden knocker because when I think of that championship, I just think of this massive meat mountain of a man coming out and doom, and that is beating the fuck out of motherfuckers left and right. When I think of a champion, he was the most fierce. He was feared. He was doing things I didn't expect him to do. He was having matches that had no business being good. My expectations were very low. He always exceeded them. Cody Rhodes was a standard. I expected a lot when you're a tippity-top guy. I think he did a good job. He's been a great flag bearer for WWE. He's been a great champion, but there's something just intangible about Oba Femi that when I look at him, I'm just like, that dude is something special, and he made NXT super special throughout the entire year, especially at the tail end here. He's been doing a lot of great work, and he's finally getting comfortable with who he is. Guy's had like, what, 15, 20,
but
30,
you're not
40
DQing
matches?
him because it's developmental like you did in another category? Just checking.
No, because it doesn't matter. It's how I write the narrative here. It's erroneous.
There you go. Narrative Nestle.
Yep.
Napoleon Nestle Complex, NNC. We're fucking branding this shit. But yeah, no, Nestlemania, I'm with you. Number 4 is Rhea Ripley. But here's the thing. You try to always call me biased with Cody Rhodes, and I'm not. He's the GOAT. But in terms of best champion 2024, he's my number 3. So suck on them eggs. He's my number 3 because to me, I'm thinking best champions. You know, to be a best champion, you obviously have to deliver, but you do need a little help from, you know, a great booker. Might talk about him later. He thinks he's cute. He knows he's sexy. He's got the looks that drive the girls wild. HBK. To be a great champion, you need to be backed by good booking. And both Roxanne Perez and Obafemi had that. And they delivered in what they had to do. But to me, I'm with you, man. He's a fucking unit. He's a stud. I love mid-card titles. I love guys that are dominant, and gals too, which both of these were. But it's Obafemi. I already gave one golden knocker to Roxanne, well-deserved, but in terms of champion, what Obafemi did with that NXT North American champion, it felt important, especially we talk about all the time. It's kind of like Gunther with the IC title, which spanned a part of this year, but it was only a small part of this year. The majority of work he did with it was with last year. But I love when someone can take that and make that mid-card title not feel like that it's less than in those world titles, but it's just as special in its own way. And I think Obafemi did that. He's dominant. He's on to, it seems like, the next step now in his career here in 2025, but we can't forget what he did in 2024, and that was be the best champion that we had to offer across all bands. So Obafemi, you're getting double knockers, baby.
What a meme. What? What did you say?
Yours are way too jerky. You got like some perky ones over there.
Silicone.
On that note, we're going to brand you NNC, and, you know, that might have something to do with our next category, Michael.
Best brand, AEW Dynamite, NXT, Raw, SmackDown.
Best brand, Michael just gave us all the category nominees, and I will just say this. There's a lot of wrestling on this program. We didn't even give Ring of Honor a chance. We didn't even give Collision a chance. We didn't give Rampage a chance. We didn't give TNA or anything else a chance. We got 4 of the best brands here, right?
I would say those are on a different level than these 4 brands. Maybe not the one that's going to be given 4th, but in terms of the top 3, like, there is a definitive gap, as some would say.
Well, look, folks, we've got a lot to talk about on this one, I think, because
Can we just put Dynamite at 4 right now?
Can we?
WrestleMania. For 2024, what have we done when we talk about AEW? If we don't bring it up in the heat, we bury it at the end of the show because it's been shit. How the fuck could you put it above my winner of the Golden Knocker, NXT, Runaway, one of the easiest categories, best brand of the year, not even close. But my number 2 is Raw. Raw was great. And then even SmackDown, which had a down year, but it wasn't anywhere near the depths of fucking poopy shit that Dynamite was the majority of the year. Easy category. Give it to NXT. Put Dynamite in the shitter. What say you?
Why didn't we just give it to TNA at 4?
You know what? How about this? Dynamite 8. We'll put TNA 4. We'll put fucking, what's the one Dom always talks about that he loves? The fucking indie show.
GCW?
With GCW, yeah, we'll put them 5. We'll put fucking Joe's a Collision Cowboy. We'll put Collision above Dynamite. We're not putting Rampage or Ring of Honor on this list. I don't know. New Japan can be in there, you know. But yeah, Dynamite.
So I know I don't disagree. I think
nice ears, by the way.
By the way, hey, you can't hate on Buzz Lightyear.
I said nice ears. That was a compliment.
Yeah, but I don't know with you. It's your.
You look like a mix of Star Trek and Buzz Lightyear. You fucking nerd.
You know what I was going to say? I look a little bit like Rick Moranis from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You probably never even seen that movie.
I've seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I was a kid when I watched it, but
it was one of
about 20 years younger than you.
You're not 20 years younger than me. I bet people think you look older than I do.
Yeah, because I can grow facial hair unlike you.
That hurts.
Yeah, but they definitely
It's true, but it hurts. You're a terrible friend.
Anyway, hurts, bro. Come on.
Yeah, well, you know what hurts? Picking this category, because I'm going to give it to, well, I'm looking at it this way. NXT has an amazing show. Raw and SmackDown, they teeter back and forth.
I think Raw's been better this year, though. You don't disagree?
I think SmackDown was left kind of in a weird spot without the OTC.
Exactly.
I think Cody did the best he could.
Cody had to carry it, but non-Cody stuff, we bitched about the tag division.
Right.
We bitched about the women's division. I was very big on Solo, but he had a tough year in terms of like picking up the slack and trying to feud with a guy who wasn't there. So to me, like, it just NXT won big, but I think Raw was big over the rest of this. I thought it was a definitive second for me.
So you're teetering me because I was going to pick Raw, but I'm going to go with NXT because of what you said, consistently the best across the board. But I think in another category, I might figure something else out in my brain. But I think in terms of the overall scope of something, NXT did a pretty decent job.
We had a lot less of the reruns this year on Monday Night Rerun, as I'm wearing the shirt for that. You can get at tpublic.com/jobberknocker, but we're talking brands. I'm trying to pick a different shirt for every category, and this one kind of fits. But, you know, sometimes you wear the shirt of your number 2 because your number 1 needs no explanation.
On that note, Michael, hit us with the next category, please.
Best Booker, Shawn Michaels, Tony Khan, Triple H.
So NestleMania, as you just heard from Michael, this is the only category that only has 3. Because until AEW gets a second bookie, Jesus, gambler, can you tell? I mean, I look like, I'm about to go
degenerate,
Hey, let's go! I mean, speaking of, I'm doing pretty well on my bets tonight too, so hey.
Fucking Don Johnson over here. Miami fucking Vice, Lola Vice, baby.
She'd be a better booker than Tony Khan. Can we agree on that? NestleMania, as you heard from Michael there, obviously we have fucking D-Generation X and Tony Khan. This is a pretty fucking easy category if we're going to be honest here. So yeah, we're putting Tony Khan at 3. How much distant 3? Triple H, great booker, but he's number 2 to the number 1 guy who is fucking sexy. He's the fucking chef of NXT. He literally just, the man can't miss. Every time you think like, oh, this will be a slow week on NXT, the chef gets in the kitchen. He fries up some good shit. And it's just like, Shawn Michaels is the best booker in wrestling. I say it all the time. Might have just added this category just so I can hammer this home. Maybe it'll be more competitive in 2025, but absolutely fucking not for 2024. I mean, Shawn Michaels did a video on WrestleMania this year in a car with Sexy Red just being goofy for 3 minutes. That's how good of a booker he is. He just fucking, he gets it. From across the board, no matter what he's booking, it's good. Look who we gave Tag Team of the Year to. Fucking Fraxium. You know who else sucks? The No Quarter Catch Crew. But you know who I enjoy now? The No Quarter Catch Crew, because Dempsey's getting better, and fucking Wrench Sinclair's been a great addition. You know why? Because the best booker in wrestling gets it. Easy category. Runaway. The Heartbreak Kid. Shawn Michaels. Best booker in wrestling for 2024, and it's not close.
I'm giving my golden knocker to Tony Khan.
He's going to snort it right up his nose, so don't even waste it.
I mean, it's kind of laughable that he's even in this category, I'll be honest with you.
By default, we don't even have a 4th.
No, I know, but it's like Consolation Khan is what he is, man. Like, that's exactly... like,
that's pretty good.
Like, Consolation Khan is what he is. So, I mean, it's bad. Now, I put on my hat and put on my suit to look like the best booker of the year. It's no fucking... I was going to try to sit there and think about Triple H versus Shawn Michaels in terms of booker. I will say this much. Triple H has done a fantastic job across the board.
Agree.
He's also juggling 2 shows, which is a lot harder when you also deal with superstar egos like the size that he has to deal with and people being like, I got to do this, I got to do that. He's found a way to make everybody count. I think he's done a great job.
I mean, in terms of ego, there's only one man dealing with all ego.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Look, I think he's cute. I know he's sexy. He's got the looks that drive maybe the old women wild now, but still.
I bet you he can drop a few panties on the onions too.
Sorry. But I will say this much. Like you said, making something out of nothing seems to be Chef Michael's MO, and the ability to find even the most Hank and Tank like people and make them watchable is a testament to how good that man really is about, even like last night, I know this is like dating us and everything, but I was watching last night with the was it Ashanti and Carmen thing in the background, and then they had people in the background watching the drama. I'm like, he finds a literal way to put people in the background for no fucking reason and does a great job with it. So I just think that you're watching a lot of things that are working in NXT, but a lot of that is working in WWE as well. So I wish I could give it to both, but it's going to go to our boy, the HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, or as we could just call him, you know, the Heart Booker Kid if we wanted. I don't know, something better than that, but Hardy Booker Kid. I'm just saying.
I appreciate the effort, but Nestle, I'm going to save you from yourself here. And Michael, I believe it's getting a little hot in here, Nestlemania. I think we're going to the next segment of the program with some new categories that are a little bit hot.
Give them the heat.
Best heel: Christian Cage, Dominic Mysterio, Gunther, Solo Sikoa.
Best heel. Time to get heaty. Get them all hot. Listen, I'm wearing this shirt. It's a throwback. If you know who I am, you know what it is. You'll know it's a very fantastic shirt for 3 people who know who it is. But seriously, this is the best heel category. We've got some amazing nominations that our boy Michael has just told us about. This is not a runaway train here, JC. These are 4 of the best people in the business right now doing yeoman's work, in my opinion. We've got Christian Cage, Dominic Mysterio, Gunther, and Solo. It's hard for me to put these in categories, in numbers here, because I feel like you could talk me into any of these 4 being the best heel of the year. I'm curious your take, because for me, it's tough to call.
I completely agree, Nestlemania. This is one of the most competitive categories, as it is mostly every year. We both appreciate the heels, for sure. And it's funny, this is the first year we've done this where MJF isn't on this list, but that's because he was a babyface for a big chunk of this year. And then when he was a heel, it wasn't very good work. So him not being here is interesting, but the lone representative from AEW is Christian Cage, who was, I believe, nominated for this last year as well. And his work has still been absolutely stellar. He's hopefully the next AEW World Champion because he's holding that contract. Like you mentioned earlier in this show, he held the TNT title. He had a great year. He's one of the best heels in wrestling, but he's not my best heel of 2024. I don't know where I'm putting him in the power rankings here because, like you said, this is a jumbled mess, but I can tell you it will not be Christian Cage. It won't be Gunther either. As good as Gunther is, I think he's been a fantastic heel. I think he's elevated himself in terms of other things where he's definitely a top star. But was he the best heel in 2024? I don't think so. When I look at these other 2, I mean, Dom Mysterio, he's a fucking layup, man. No one gets heat like Dom. It's literally his gimmick to get heat. He's hateable. He's disgusting. I mean, look at him. He's a fucking criminal too. The man has served hard time, so much so that he got a tattoo. He literally ditched one woman for another. I don't know, man. So he's definitely there. But to me, Nestlemania, I'm giving my best heel knocker of 2024 to Solo Sikoa. And I have been on the Solo train since the beginning. I think this man had one of the toughest roads in 2024 in wrestling. So I kind of want to make sure he's recognized here. And I think he started to get that recognition towards the end of 2024, where people started to appreciate what he had done. This man, Nestlemania, think about this. The biggest star in wrestling the past 3-4 years has been Roman Reigns. And Solo was asked, a young man who had about a year of experience on the main roster as like a heavy, was asked to step in and take Roman's spot and be that Roman Reigns type character and asked to feud with a guy like Roman Reigns, but without Roman Reigns there for like 5 straight months. That's almost an impossible task. I thought Solo held his own. He brought in his new bloodline. He brought in the Tongas. He brought in Jacob Fatu, who might come up later in the show, who loves Solo. And we love him too. But to me, I think Solo's work, it got better and better. I thought he got comfortable, whether it was the backstage vignettes, the stuff he was asked to do in the ring, having to go face-to-face with guys like Cody Rhodes. I thought Solo Sikoa held his own. I thought Solo, like Dom was easy heat at this point in this year because it became his gimmick, where Solo had to earn his heat. And I think, boy, did that boy earn it. And when Roman came back, it all started to click for him. He really settled into that role. And to me, he was the best heel in wrestling in 2024. What say you?
Wow, that's pretty high praise considering how you feel about heels. So that says a lot.
It's a tough one, but I think I made the right choice.
I will say this much. Christian Cage didn't do as best as Christian Cage did previously, so I think he's my number 4. Dominic Mysterio is 3 for me only because I feel like, again, I already expected it. The next 2, Gunther for me, I knew he was good in the ring and he was hated, but I think he really stepped up his game like I gave him, the props earlier about him.
Street trash.
Just going in and hard in the paint on people and getting people to boo him. And he went after Goldberg. He went after so many other people. He made a Bret Hart reference and then he took it back because he made fun of Bret. Like he's done this. Look at this. I'm a Bret Hart homer. Look at like, this is Bret Hart gotten written all over it. I love me some Bret Hart. But you know what? All I'll say is this. He made Bret Hart just fucking crumble in Canada, and he just did everything he possibly could. And again, out of nowhere, we didn't expect him to have that level of not knowing the English language and crushing it on the microphone. So for me, it's hard because you made a really good case. I'll put it that way. You made an excellent case for Solo, and I would probably agree with you. However, I still look at Solo, although everything you just said is 100% correct. And I do agree with you on most of what you said. But I will say I'm going to give mine to Gunther only because, like I said, when he's a heel's heel, there's no funny business with Gunther. There's no chance of trying to be the funny guy or the entertaining guy. There's a couple of moments there where Solo was a little bit funny, and I felt like he was doing a little yuck stuff, which, again, no fault of his own. He is an amazing athlete. He's an amazing heel. He's up there. He might be 1AB, but he ain't number 1. Number 1 is the Ring General, Gunther.
Are you sitting down, Adam?
Yes.
I can't disagree with you in this category because this is one of those categories where I think it's fair that any of these 4 men, like we mentioned off the top, could get a case. So this is one of the few times where I won't say your opinion is erroneous. I won't say you're a moron. I won't say you're a stupid idiot. I won't say you're a dunce. I won't say you're a dope. I'll say that plenty of other times on the show, and I already have. But not in this category. I think it's very fair. I'm okay with split knockers in Best Heel for 2024. But Michael Downing, is it possible that we could be split again in the next category? Hit me with it.
Most underutilized talent. Baron Corbin. Pretty Deadly. Ricky Starks. Scorpio Sky.
Nestlemania. Some people might say that I'm underutilized on the show because in a perfect world, I would literally talk the entire time and you would just sit there and eat shit. But you know what? I'm a nice guy and I allow you to contribute to the show because, I think it's fair and you're like something I can bounce off of because, I don't really have a shirt for this category, but, everyone could. This is one of my favorite designs we have, because America runs on the jobber knocker. So you should get your cup of Joe today at tpublic.com/jobberknocker. But yeah, you heard Michael just run down the underutilized talent at WrestleMania. My boy Baron Corbin was so underutilized, they let his contract run out and didn't renew it. Excuse me. Talking's hard when you're amped up on coffee, or in this case, wine. But, tpublic.com/jobberknocker. Get yours today. Pretty Deadly, your boys. Very Nestle cursed since the beginning. You love them. I think they're great too. They seem pretty underutilized. We discussed it on the previous podcast as well. And then we go to AEW. Ricky Starks, potential to be a megastar. And Tony Khan won't even book him. You kidding me, dude? What is wrong with you? Disgusting. Deplorable. And then Scorpio Sky. Does he even fucking work there anymore? Apparently. Then why haven't we seen him in fucking 6 years? So, yeah, there's a lot of people. You could run through. There's a ton, especially in AEW. But, these were the 4 that stood out. So, Nestlemania, I'm curious. Who do you think was most underutilized in 2020?
I mean, we might as well name this the Witsec Award because we have no idea where any of these fucking people are. It's like they are just goners.
Well, Corbin's probably having a nice piece of steak with some red wine because red wine goes great with the steak. Maybe it's a little Cabernet Sauvignon like me.
You're not fancy. You're not fancy with a Sauvignon. It's not.
Cabernet Sauvignon's delicious.
Doesn't mean
I'm not the biggest red guy. This is by far, these are my favorite types of red.
Is this favorite types of red?
Hey, no, here's the thing. That's Mania. Here's the thing. You could have said that about JC 2 years ago, but JC's been in Napa now. JC knows his fucking wine. You don't go to Napa and leave not an expert. I'm a fucking wine fucking expert, motherfucker. I'm classy as fuck. I drink what I want. I do what I want. and I got a little Argentinian Cabernet Sauvignon. So, I know what the fuck I'm talking about, baby, because I went to Napa. You been in Napa? I don't think so. So I know you don't. So stick to what you know, and that's underutilized wrestlers.
I'll tell you this much. Anybody that claims they can smell like apples and oranges and smoke out of a wine is full of shit. You're full of shit.
You can smell and taste.
You are full of shit. This one's a little smoky. This one's a little sour. Fuck off.
The best is when people say a little woody, and I'm like, huh, I have a little woody.
All I'm saying is it's all a crapshoot. It does not matter. I'm just saying anybody that tells you they're a wine taste tester is a fucking fraud.
I mean, look, here's the thing. I would love that to be my next career because it sounds like a pretty good damn career. So you know what?
Get wasted.
I will fucking say that I'm a professional wine. Look, when I was out there, I'm this old guys and old gals giving us tours. I'm like, man, I should do this for a living. Like, what a fucking living, man. I can bullshit with the best of them. I do it here.
Exactly. You're a bullshit artist is what you are.
And you know what? Bullshit? These 4 superstars being underutilized.
All right, look, I'll be honest. I was shocked that Corbin was not renewed and they let him go because honestly, you've converted me over the years. We've had this conversation over our 8 years on the knocker here. Corbin deserves his flowers.
Especially with the NXT run. It was like he rehabilitated himself. He burned the fucking ships. Then he got called up and Triple H is like, forget about it.
The one that hurts my feelings is pretty deadly because, like I said, I think they were the blueprint tag team on how to make a heel tag team. They are a heel tag team. They do great work together. They have a great gimmick. They're pretty, but they are deadly. I think it's funny. I think they've got a lot of promise, but I just feel like they can't find their footing. And I don't think the last year for tag team wrestling helped them in any category. So they're in Witsack. But then you want to talk about real Witsack. Holy shit balls. Did someone move the fucking armpit of South Dakota? I mean, you think Ricky Starks, Mr. Megastar himself, they don't want to put him on TV? I mean, you want to talk about underutilizing somebody. That's pretty unutilized. But then Scorpio Sky, to me, I think Scorpio Sky, when they were pushing him, was fairly prominent with that TNT championship. Although it was a small reign, I thought he did a great job. But I think the most egregious out of this 4, in my opinion, is Ricky Starks. I mean, you can't deny the guy's talent. Like, you can say what you want about everybody in this category, but Ricky Starks can be a world champion. That's it.
This is how we're going to end it. And then, Michael, you're going to take it after exactly what I say, because it is an undeniable fact. Ricky Starks is The Rock without steroids. That is who he is. That is who he can be. And you're fucking it up, Tony. So let him go. So Triple H and Shawn Michaels, the better bookers, can bring that out because I can smell it.
LEAPT the Dolphin. What could have been? Chad Gable ending Gunther's Intercontinental reign. Damian Priest as a babyface WH champion. Daniel Bryan's world title reign and last run. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk at WrestleMania.
It is now time to LEAPT the Dolphin. What could have been? We give our props to Billy for giving us the t-shirt design as well. Go find it at tpublic.com/jobberknocker. Oh boy, excuse me. And that's a lot of stuff to get through. But listen, what could have been? This is one of my favorite parts of the year. Literally leaping to infinity and beyond, if you will.
We get to second guess the bookers.
Yes, what could have been, folks. This is a launch pad, a jump to conclusions mat, if you will. We've got Chad Gable ending Gunther's reign of the IC title, which is something that I wanted so fucking bad.
We both did.
Then you get to Damian Priest as the babyface's world heavyweight champion. That was kind of stopped short. He was just fucking finding his way. And all they did was pull the goddamn rung out from underneath them to give it to Gunther. And God, did that make me mad. And then we had Daniel Bryan's world title /run, which to me was fucking fumbled quicker than
pile of shit.
It was fumbled quicker than me in the bedroom. It was bad. And then, of course, we have Seth Rollins and CM Punk at WrestleMania because of his bad wing and Drew McIntyre giving him a fucking DDT he didn't need to give him in the Royal Rumble. It's a whole fucking thing. Now, look, I can make a case for all of these things, but though as I was reading these in my head, there was one particular that really chapped my ass.
Ooh.
I'll tell you that much. Can I go first?
Yes. Chap your ass.
Yeah. Are you going to chap my ass virtually or what?
I'm going to chap my lips because that's what you do with chapstick.
Okay. Have you ever chapped your ass? It's fine. Let's not talk about that.
No. I would totally wear assless chaps though.
Yeah, you would, because you want to be like HBK. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, I got a cute little hairy butt, you know.
Yeah, that's gonna go viral for the wrong reasons. I can't now. Listen, Damian Priest is a babyface. Would have been nice. I think it would have made him a better champion, but it doesn't give me the feeling that I want to, and I'm going to lose my mind here. Bryan Danielson's run pissed me off, but it wasn't gonna. I don't think anything could have made it better, in my opinion. Yeah. So I'm going to put that at 3. It's between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and of course Gable trying to dethrone Gunther. As much as I'm upset with Seth Rollins and CM Punk, we're going to get it eventually. So I feel like, you know what? Patience is a virtue that I'm working on. Not good at it, but I'm working on it. So I'm going to give my what could have been LEAPT the Dolphin to Chad Gable, ending the IC title reign of Gunther. Because God damn it, when Sami Zayn was the one that got handpicked, all I kept thinking about was why? It was right fucking there. And all they had to do was do it. And they couldn't fucking do it. And I'm sorry, I like Sami Zayn a lot. But he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I think that the people would have erupted. But the problem is they probably looked at Gable and they thought, he can't be the fucking one shit stain that is on the record of Gunther, which is stupid because if you look at the man, they're size shamers. They are not going to give him what his fucking flowers and just desserts. That man should be a world champion, maybe an IC champion probably, but I'm just thinking that they don't even want to give him a shot. So it pissed me off. That's why I'm still fucking mad about it.
I agree. This is my winner as well as Chad Gable, because the way I look at it is like, this is obviously something we wanted. We're disappointed with the Sami because that's not the title we want him to have a big win with. I want Sami to be world heavyweight champion at some day. Like, he's won that IC title several times. So him beating Gunther, it was just kind of like, eh. So that is the winner. But the part of the reason is like, look at Seth Rollins, CM Punk at WrestleMania would have been awesome because it was CM Punk's chance to finish his story and be the main event. Didn't happen, disappointing. But like you said, I don't know if we get that incredible rivalry with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre without it. So to me, it's fine. Damian Priest, part of the reason I think he became such a good babyface was because he lost the title. Is it disappointing we didn't get that run to really solidify himself as a deserving champion? Probably, but I think it actually worked out for him. And then Daniel Bryan's fucking run was fucking dog shit. Fucking poopy stains. But like you said, I don't think it could have been better because it was forced. This shit's been botched for years. So yeah, to me, this was an easy one as well. Chad Gable should have ended Gunther's reign. We're disappointed because of it. And you know what, Triple H? HBK wouldn't have done it, but you did. But you left the Dolphin, bro. It's just facts. Michael, what else you got for us?
Most Nestle cursed. Jay versus Jimmy Uso match at WrestleMania. Lyra Valkyria. Von Wagner released by WWE. Wyatt 6 wrestling.
Nestlemania, this award was a long time coming. You know that Sip Team meme? I mean, you look like a mess. The Nestle curse, it's spectacular and real, baby. It is a real fucking thing. And this category proves it. One of the new categories for 2024. It'll be staying forever because you heard Michael just run down the nominees, Nestlemania, but I feel like I need to tell the people why. Well, you continue to break down over there. I'm going to break down why these exist. Jay versus Jimmy Uso at WrestleMania. You declared that this would steal the show and be the best match at WrestleMania in 2024. Nestlemania, this in fact was the worst match of WrestleMania in 2024. So officially, Nestle curse real. Number 2, Lyra Valkyria. I was off this week, probably on one of my summer escapades. And you declared that Lyra Valkyria might be the most talented woman in WWE. Since then, immediately, Lyra was involved in shitty 6-woman tag feuds and has barely done anything the rest of 2024. Nominee number 3. No bigger Nestle guy than Von Wagner. And what happened to Von Wagner in 2024 Nestlemania? He was released by WWE because he was Nestle cursed. And the final nominee, you declared the Wyatt 6 should never wrestle. The very next week, the Wyatt 6 wrestled. So Nestlemania, I mean, look it. I could give it to any of these for this award. But as the man who has cursed all these things, I want to hear what you and your ridiculous look have to say.
This is hurting my nose. I'll be honest. For those of you only listening, just out of my own pain, go to YouTube and watch.
YouTube.com/jobberknocker. Is that how you find it?
Yeah. I think I'm going to break my nose if I do this for a lot longer. Oh, I'll cry. Either way, it's good for fucking content. Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso, this match was a lead fart. It was bad. I'll be honest. You know, I get a chubby every time I think about, brother versus brother wrestling each other. I thought, this was going to be a thing. Couldn't have been worse than Matt and Jeff. Boy, was I wrong. And then, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, that's bad. Lyra Valkyria, I still feel bad about. I mean, I've never really instantaneously really fucked up something that quickly. So that was pretty bad. And then, of course, we got my boy, Von Wagner, the second coming of John Cena. Just yeeted out of there. To be fair, that was probably one of the worst takes I've ever had, if I'm being honest. But the Wyatt 6 thing, I think I got so angry with it because it wasn't Bray Wyatt that I just didn't want it to succeed. And I think they're doing a good job with it. I'm not going to give it to the Wyatts because I feel like there's more egregious things I've done over the year. I'll be honest. I feel bad for Von Wagner, but if we're being honest as well, I don't think Von Wagner was probably destined for this world. Sorry. Jimmy versus Jay, or is it Lyra? I'll say this much. Jimmy and Jay survived that.
Fair.
So I think I'm going to feel really bad about Lyra.
If you kill Lyra, I will hate you forever because I love her.
I think I have fucked her up beyond repair. And I think that she's probably never going to see the light of day again because of what I've done to her.
Keep talking, please.
So I feel like I have cheated this woman out of a career. So I'm going to give my most Nestle curse to Lyra Valkyria because I don't think she can go any lower. And she probably can't get any higher. She's stuck in purgatory. And it's my fault. It's all my fault.
Well, here's the thing. I still believe in Lyra. And I think now that you are off the wagon, she can succeed. To me, I'm giving it to Von Wagner because this was your guy. This was your guy. Come Tuesday. This was your guy. And you fucking put so much of your Nestle stink on him. You got this motherfucker shown the door before he ever got a chance to do all the great things that you thought. And it's just fucking funny because the Von Wagner thing with you has been a multi-year thing. And he has just been living with the curse until it cost him his job. And I mean, I don't even know. What's that guy doing now? What's he doing?
No clue. No clue.
I hope to God he has a job, that poor guy. I haven't seen him wrestle, so God knows what he's
doing.
It's
not my fault. It's not my fault.
It's just not my fault. Coming on Tuesdays,
Well, it's not a Tuesday, but usually it's a Tuesday. Maybe he's watching us every Tuesday.
People might be watching this on a Tuesday. Because here's the thing. There was something you said on last week's show, and I accidentally saw a spoiler on NXT. I don't know when this is going to be released or when people are watching it, but you literally cursed someone into success within an hour of you saying it. There's a new champion in NXT on Tuesday. When you watch or if it's already happened, you'll know. But you said you don't know if this person should have a job, and they immediately won a championship. So you know what? If you don't believe the Nestle curse is real, this category fucking proves it. And there you go. There's going to be more things in 2025. God rest their souls. But Michael, we must move on. What else you got for us?
Get 'em off my TV. Worst Thing of 2024 award. AEW airing the Punk Perry footage. AEW's booking. Chris Jericho and his learning tree. Pure Fusion Collective.
Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Worst thing in 2024 award. Award. Now, JC's wearing an All Elite Bebe t-shirt, so that tells you how he feels. We've got a lot to talk about here. It's almost a dead just giveaway, but we're going to figure it out one way or the other. We've got a lot of AEW here in the stinkopotamus category.
This is their category, baby.
I mean, airing the Punk and Perry footage, Not great, Bob.
It did not help them. That's for damn sure.
No. AEW booking as an overall theme, pretty bad. Chris Jericho, we have to say his name because it's this category, the learning tree in general. JC had a something, a hair across his ass when it comes to this.
Which will be broken for the Golden Knockers, is that I will talk about the learning tree.
Okay. And of course, Pure Fusion Collective. It's hard to say.
What else does PFC stand for in WrestleMania? Pure fucking crap.
Pure fucking crap. Sorry, Guthrie. We love you, but it's pure fucking crap. Anyway, I'm going to, as much as we don't like Chris Jericho, I feel like Chris Jericho falls under AEW booking. So, feels like you can have a slam dunk on one, or you can just dunk on everything.
The learning tree is part of AEW's bad booking.
Right.
Because they allow Chris Jericho to book his own shit.
That's fair. But it's not, it's the worst thing in my opinion in terms of like, it's not the most egregious, but it's like there are more egregious things in this category in my opinion. When I think get it off my TV, as in I need it to never see the light of day ever again. I'm going to see Chris Jericho again. So I don't like it, but it's a thing. Pure fucking crap. Not great, but not the worst thing in the world.
That's fourth for me. The only WWE nominee is fourth for me. Hey, look, it's I wouldn't say it's the full gimmick, but like we really like Sonya Deville. I respect Shayna Baszler. I think Zoe Stark's amazing in the ring. But like together, it is pure fucking crap. But you know what? It's not enough of pure fucking crap to win this award. It is a distance fourth because this is the AEW award. So something from AEW will win. And for me, they have my top three.
That's fair. I don't care about it. That's fair. AEW's booking or airing the Punk Perry footage. I'm going to say this. I'm going to put AEW booking at 2 and give it to airing the Punk and Perry footage as the worst thing of the year, because I think in Tony Khan's warped fucking mind, he thought airing this footage would make him the babyface in this particular juncture, and it made him the worst person in the world. He shot his $1 million horse behind the barn, poof, and now they can't even have collision work, and it just seems like AEW has spun into quite a spiral since they fired CM Punk publicly.
CM
Pump. Yeah, exactly. CM Punk privately. Easy for me to say. I'm not even drinking wine. But look.
Neither am I.
Here's the thing. It should have never been on my TV. It should have gotten off my TV. And I think all it did was solidify what CM Punk said on, what was it, Ari's podcast or something like that. He said exactly the thing, and it lined up. He kind of shoved the guy, and that was it. Put him in a headlock. And so I feel like it made WWE look even better, and they didn't focus on their own thing. And it just feels like the biggest misstep was letting Punk go. But this right here didn't need to happen. It was
stupid.
It was probably the most bozo thing you could do. Tony Khan is a clown, an absolute honk. He is stupid as fuck for airing this fucking footage.
I agree, but it's not my winner.
What?
To me, this top three, I could give it to all three because airing that footage was fucking stupid. Their booking fucking sucks. Last year, TJ and I almost named this the Get Him Off My TV Jeff Jarrett Memorial Award. Well, who's the Jeff Jarrett of 2024? It's fucking Chris Jericho and his goddamn learning tree. I can't even say it because he fucking sucks so much. This tree should be cut down. It should be burned. The roots should be pulled out of the ground. And honestly, the ground should be made a fucking dumpster. Like, people should put their waste in place of this learning tree. The Chris Jericho thing was so bad in 2024 WrestleMania that I refused to watch it. I would make sure if any of this shit popped on my TV, I wouldn't even watch it. And I try to watch everything because I try to come here and talk about it. But I just couldn't. This guy, I mean, look it. He has his own things of issues. But it's gotten so bad. And his just everything, like, bad. So for me, I have to give him the award. I have to, because as bad as AEW's booking was in 2024, I'm still watching Dynamite. I'm trying. There's little glimpses. We've heard some positive things in the shine earlier in those categories of some good things I had this year. It wasn't all bad. It was mostly bad, but it wasn't all bad. But something that was all bad. And for me, for JC, the worst thing of 2024 was Chris Jericho and his goddamn learning tray. You can call me fucking JC Bunyan because I'm chopping that shit down. I'm fucking taking a shit on it. Then I'm burning it. I'm throwing it in the fucking wasteland. And anything that has touched this tree should be a fucking dumpster. Chris Jericho, you are a dumpster. It's time for you to go away. Go away. If you want to come back as a commentator in like 6 months, fine. But it's time to end it, dude. Everything you touch sucks. You suck. You are the worst thing of 2024. You get my Get Off My TV award. But yeah, I mean, this is the AEW award for 2024. Hopefully in 2025, hopefully, emphasis, because that's what's coming next, Michael. You're going to hit us with that in a second. Hopefully, this isn't an AEW category in 2025, but we shall see, Nestlemania. We shall see.
Michael, another award, please.
Newcomer, Acquisition of the Year. Ethan Page, Jacob Fatu, Obafemi, Will Ospreay.
Glorious! You're my only hope, Nestlemania. We've entered the third of 4 quadrants in the Jobber Knocker pantheon of greatness in Nestlemania. We're getting hopeful, baby. Michael just ran down some great newcomers / acquisitions of 2024. Some might call them some gold standards in wrestling. You know, maybe if he happened earlier, he'd be on this list, but he's not because it's a business. And sometimes it hurts to leave off your favorites because they haven't been there long enough. But you look at this and look at 2 of these are NXT superstars, Nestlemania. Old Ego Ethan Page was acquired and became their world champion almost instantly. A big part for uplifting a guy like Trick Williams. NXT, already the best show. Keeping that level when they needed main event talent, he did that. Obafemi, I mean, look it. We already talked about him. We both gave him our best champion golden knockers. There's a very good chance he can get another set here as the best newcomer acquisition. But we go to the main roster, Nestlemania. One guy who didn't need NXT. We had Tongas come. Some were Thomas. Some were Lois. But there was only one Fatu, and his name was Jacob, who was a god in the show Lost. But Jacob Fatu, this fucking guy, he's incredible. I love you, Solo. Well, Jacob, we love you. That's why you're nominated. In Nestlemania, Will Ospreay. What the fuck else is to say? The man has been Superstar of the Year nominee the last 2 years. So if you're a company like AEW and you acquire this guy, that should be a big deal. But here's the thing, Nestlemania. I'm going to get out right in front of it here before I let you go. Will Ospreay is my number 4 because, as we mentioned earlier, they fumbled the bag a little bit with him. So how can I say he's the best acquisition / newcomer of the year when they fumbled the bag? What do you say?
I don't disagree that they fumbled the bag, but he is a great acquisition. I can be talked into him being number 1. I won't put him there, but I could be persuaded. I could be talked into it. I think the other 3 have a stronger case, personally. So I'll entertain Will. I'll entertain the Billy Goat at 4. But Ethan Page is 3 for me. Even though he's a good acquisition, did a great job for NXT at the back part of that year. He's only been part of the back part of the year. I think, the more I think about this, it's coming down to Jacob Fatu or Obafemi. And I just love the way that Oba feels. I feel like it's hard because Oba and Jacob to me are going to be seismic shift kind of players going forward. So I feel like they're very much same but different, if that makes any sense. I can't remember when Jacob showed up though, because it feels like
it was after all the international shows. So in that timeline, it was the summer, last of the new bloodline. Yeah, so it was probably about halfway through the year.
I feel like just because I can't, if I can't give Ethan Page a full year nod, I can't give Jacob Fatu the nod. And I'm going to give it to Obafemi because I feel like this guy literally has never touched a wrestling ring. And now you look at him and you're like, this is a potential for this guy to be in a big way for a long time for the WWE. So I'm going to give Obafemi my golden knocker.
So Nestlemania, my favorite part about these hope and comeback and finish categories that we are now in, the last segments of the knocker, the pantheon, so to speak, the golden star of the golden knockers. We're at the 3-point star. the last parts is that they're not so much the choose your own adventure, but it's one of those choose the way you interpret these types of things, because the way you interpreted it with longevity and something is very fair because you got a lot of meat on that bone. Still to come, but Obafemi, we're talking meat, baby, always. But I look at it a little different. Obviously, it's about the newcomer, the acquisition, the impact. But I'm looking less at like the time because I'm thinking about it and I look at this and I already said I'm putting Will 4 because I think like even though on paper you list these off, he's by far the biggest acquisition, 100%. But it's what you do with that acquisition. They fumbled it. That's why he's 4. Jacob Fatu, an incredible acquisition. I am so excited, but I feel like we barely scratched the surface with what he's capable of. So for me, I'm putting him 3. And that's not to say I don't think he's a great acquisition. I think he's one of, by far, he's on this list for a reason, and you can argue him as the number 1, and I would not have a problem with it. But I'm putting him 3 because I'm looking at the other 2, and I'm thinking impact from these acquisitions. You laid it out for Obafemi. There's not much else for me to say there. I don't disagree with him being it. He's a fucking unit. He's a stud. He's going to be nominated for another category still to come. I mean, this guy's one of my favorite wrestlers on the planet. And like you said, he barely scratched the surface with him, and he's already had this impact. But my winner is actually going to go to Ethan Page. But it's not for the reason you think. Because, yeah, I think he's a great acquisition. We obviously saw it. But it's like what they did with it. Because one of the reasons, like, I've always loved Ethan Page. I think he's an incredible talent. And he has some things that you can't really teach in terms of character and promos. And he's a very good wrestler. But that's not what he's best at. But NXT took something that AEW had the potential for it, and they flashed it. But they never took advantage of it. And in a company like AEW, a guy like Ethan Page is a guy you should be able to take advantage of because there's more opportunity and less of the really high-end stars that WWE has. There's high-end stars, but it's just like they should have been able to unlock a guy like Ethan Page, and they didn't. NXT gets him, and they unlock this motherfucker in his like second appearance. They make him their world champion. Their world champion. And he seems like he fits in. He elevates what's there. He filled the hole that was desperately needed, but he proved that all ego, that hard work that he's talked about of his whatever it's been, 22-year career, 6, I don't even know. I hear so many 18-year career that he is worthy, and he proved it, and that he can do it, and he can be a top guy. He proved it. And he's probably going to have a very successful career in WWE. Will he be a world champion on the main roster? Probably not. But a solid mid-carder? Absolutely, because of his character work. And to me, that's why I'm giving him this golden knocker, because they took something that was always there and instantly maximized its potential and filled a hole they desperately needed to fill. And they did it flawlessly. And now look at already, all ego. He's lost the title. He's beyond it. He's already developing a new character that who knows, maybe we'll be talking about in these categories and some other categories in 2025. So for me, my interpretation of it, that's how I'm giving my best newcomer. Because on paper, he might be 4. But in terms of execution, I think he's number 1. And he's getting my knocker, baby.
That was eloquently put. I will say that much. I can't really say much more than that. So I will agree, and we'll move on to another hopeful category. Michael, give us the next category, won't you please?
Best Repackage. Chad Gable, American Asshole. Liv Morgan, Revenge Tour. Roman Reigns, OTC. The Rock, The Final Boss.
Sometimes people say good things come in small packages. At least that's what my mom tells me. Sometimes you just need a package like this. See? Package. Get it? It's repackaged. And we're talking about the best repackage in this entire, year, I guess the best we could say. The best repackage in 2024. There's a lot to talk about here, JC. I mean, when you look at this box, JC, you think to yourself, this is an ordinary box. It's just in there. But sometimes it's what's inside that counts, like Mama Nestle always said. So I'm going to look at these guys and say, is it Chad Gable? Probably not. We'll see. Is it Liv Morgan, Revenge Tour? Is it Roman Reigns as the OTC?
No longer a tribal cuck.
No longer a tribal cuck. Not cucking at all, perhaps. Or is it The Rock being the final boss? Because he's the boss now. Now, look, all of these are good, great, wonderful. But in my opinion, there's one person here that has been molded in a way that I think is better than the rest. Ooh. I'm curious what you think, though.
So this is a tough one for me, Nestlemania, because I think these are all good. You kind of dismissed Chad Gable there, you know, kind of the American asshole. He's kind of really embraced being a heel. He's taken on the Creeds and Ivy Nile. But you know what? I don't disagree. I do think he's number 4, because when we talk about the other 3 character changes, these are main event level talent. These are world champion level talent. I mean, 2 of them are Samoan. Literally Roman Reigns, who'd come back. He literally becomes over the counter. Like, he's so good, you can get it over the counter. Like, it just is available because he is the OTC. It's a chant, instantly over, instant baby face, successful repackage. The Rock is the final boss, man. Like, look we had some fun with The Rock, but The Rock did what he had to do to take Cody's story, and he wanted to fucking cuck it, much like the tribal cuck, his cousin, but he couldn't. And he got on board, and he made the story even better and gave it a better culmination. And part of that was the repackage of the final boss. The Rock, one of the most beloved guys in wrestling, literally went heel. So those 2 are pretty undeniable. And then we've talked about Liv Morgan already on this program. Her development, what she became, how she became a main event level type player, a superstar of the year, undeniable nominee / winner for 2024. So to me, it's a 3-horse race. And I honestly have no fucking idea who I'm going to pick. So Nestlemania, if you have an idea, I'd like you to try to sway me.
So this is what I'm thinking about. I do love the idea of the final boss, but I don't think he wanted to be the final boss. I think he thought I think he thought he was going to be the biggest babyface in the world. And to me, I feel like it was out of necessity because Cody Rhodes came over and the Cody Crybabies made sure that the final boss wasn't going to get his way.
Certified.
So what I will say is I'm not going to say that the final boss wasn't a good repackage, but is he the total package? Is he the total package? I say no. Nay, not today. I'm going to say when I think of a total package, not Lex Luger, I'm thinking it could be the OTC. It could be Liv Morgan, because if you look at both of those particular people, they literally had a shift in gears to do something completely different than they were doing. But were they the total package? I say there's one in particular. Now, Liv Morgan, she got my golden knocker earlier, but I'm not going to give it to her. I'm going to give it to the OTC. Put your fingers up. Because, folks, how many years did they try to shove this motherfucker down our throat? How many years did they try to make us just open up wide, bend over the table and say, yes, Roman, can I have another? And we all booed. And we all said, no, thank you, sir. We will not have another. And now, since August, folks, he's a glorious package.
You're really
not just a package. Not just a package. He's the total package. He's the baby face they've always wanted. His package is so huge, it's over the counter. Roman Reigns gets my golden knocker. OTC. Babyface of the year.
I'm going to let that settle in for a minute. Nestle talking about packages and how he likes to grab them. Look I said before, I think it's 3-horse race, and I think all 3 horses are great. You gave it to Roman. I think this one deserves to be split. I didn't give her one earlier, so I'm going to give her one now. Liv Morgan, the Revenge Tour. She's going to get my golden knocker. Wasn't quite good enough to be my female superstar of the year. Just came up a hair short. Here, I mean, I think these 3 horses are right on line, baby. But I'm going to give it to Liv because the Revenge Tour is sweet. It culminated the whole year, and her character change was a joy to watch. So we're splitting the knockies on this one, Nestlemania, here with Liv Morgan and Roman Reigns. Both deserving, but Nestlemania. These people, obviously, there wasn't much to improve with them. But Michael might tell us about some people who had some things in 2024 to maybe try to level up.
Breakout, Most Improved Superstar, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Mariah May, Trick Williams.
All right, so Michael, you gave us some people that really did raise their level in 2024. Much like the world champion, yeah, Danny, I'm talking to you one end. The world champion Boston Celtics broke out, improved so much that they became the world champions and won an NBA title. Well, these 4 some of them did have titles. 3 of them, in fact. But they broke out. They elevated their games. Braun Breaker, obviously, I mean, what else is more to say? This fucking guy just gets better and better the more we see him. 2-time Intercontinental Champion. Call up to the main roster. Huge success. Bronson Reed, the one of these nominees, he didn't quite win a title, but when he attacked Seth Rollins and tsunamied him into an early grave, it caught everyone's attention. And this man has been on fire. Some might say a super hot fire ever since. Mariah May, we've already talked about her here in WrestleMania. Her meteoric rise, her feud with Toni Storm. She's still, as of this recording, the AEW Women's World Champion. Well-deserved. If that ain't a breakout and most improved, I don't know what is. And then, of course, WrestleMania. What that trick? What that trick? I like it. This guy was a sidekick. A sidekick. A guy that people looked at and was like, I don't know if Mello can't miss, but Trick? What's Trick? Is he just a one-trick pony? Nah. This man broke out. 2-time NXT champion. Banners with a guy like Dragunov. The definition of breaking out and raising his level, going from a sidekick to a world champion main event, face of a brand. So much so that people in WWE think he could main event WrestleMania someday. That's high praise. But WrestleMania, I leave it to you. Which one of these 4 individuals was the true breakout and most improved superstar of 2024?
Well, to me, it's not necessarily Braun Breaker. I think when you think he did a great job, but I think the expectation was there. When I think breakout for me, I think somebody out of fucking nowhere just came out of nowhere and did something that was unexpected, kept the momentum going. I think when I look at Mariah May, I mean, we kind of expected that this was going to happen. So I was excited to see it happen. It did a great job. I think, unfortunately, when she became champion, she lost all that momentum. Big Mo is important when you break out. So I think it's coming down to me to a Bronson Reed or a Trick Willie. And I could say either of these men are. Now, I got my bandana up here for my boy Trick Willie because I think he's just amazing. And I think you said he's doing his thing. He's whooping that trick. I like it. But when I think about breakup, when I think about momentum, JC, you know what has momentum?
Tsunamis!
Exactly. A tsunami has momentum. So I'm giving my breakout / most improved superstar from a guy, by the way, who got fired and came back. He is on the fucking way. If he didn't crash through that table at War Games, he'd be somebody we're still talking about right now. So unfortunately, as much as I would love to give it to Trick Willie, I'm going to give it to Tsunami Bronson Reed because literally did not think this man was going to have this year. So he did. This was his breakout year. So I'm giving it to Bronson.
I can't disagree with that. I think those are all good points, but I am going to give my golden knocker to Trick Williams.
Are you adding? So hold on. Before you do that, you said I can't disagree with all that. By the way, Trick, that doesn't make any sense.
I can't. No. It does
because you can make sense.
No. Because this is another competitive category. The point you raised to Braun Breaker, I do think is correct. I do think he's still elevating beyond even the haters now can't hate. Like our boy Dom, bro, you can't hate no more, buddy. Just hop on the choo-choo Braun Breaker train. This man's going to be main eventing a lot of WrestleManias. But yeah, no, he doesn't need to win it because like you said, there was an expectation. Mariah May blew my expectations out of the water. I've always liked her. I've known about her for years, seen her work. I'm like, this woman has a big future. I didn't expect it to come this soon. Obviously, the Toni Storm thing, lightning in a bottle. AEW is one of the few things they captured in 2024, but they captured it. But yeah, I agree. She's number 3. It did come down to Bronson Reed and Trick Williams for me, but I look at the impact in WrestleMania. And obviously, tsunamis, they have a big impact. Ask some of the people in the South. Those can have some pretty bad impacts. And he had a great breakout. But I think the difference for me is like, yeah, he had that great breakout. He's on the map now, but he's only on the map. Trick Williams went from a guy who was a sidekick. He wasn't supposed to be on the map. He has one of the best rivalries of the year with his best friend Mello. He breaks out, but he continues to raise his level. He breaks out in the ring as a wrestler because we thought maybe he's a one trick. He's just a gimmick. This man can wrestle. And we've seen it, his development. That's the beauty of NXT. We get to watch these individuals grow. Trick Williams went from a sidekick to a guy people now think could main event a WrestleMania someday. Whoop that trick. This man is over like Rover. To me, he is the epitome of a breakout superstar. The epitome of a most improved. So he easily wins my knocker. But it's not to discourage the others, but it's just to me, what Trick did this year was so impressive. And I think he's going to continue to grow. I'm excited for his next steps. But It is undeniable what happened with him. So for me, my golden knocker for most improved breakout superstar in 2024, whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. I like it. Michael, you know what else I like? The next category.
Comeback of the year. Mercedes Moné, Naomi, The Rock, Wyatt Six.
Don't call it a comeback. They've been here for years. Now listen, we've got a lot to talk about here because it's the comeback of the year. We've got amazing people who have tiptoed their way back into our hearts out of kind of being on the sidelines, maybe never seen for a while. They've been doing it big. They've been doing it hard. They've been doing it fast. But I will say this much. There's only one winner here for comeback of the year. We've got Mercedes. We've got Naomi. We've got the final boss, The Rock. We've got the Wyatt Six. I am going to sit here and tell you, JC, that, well, as much as I'd like to give it to the Wyatt Six, I feel like they're not the most impressive comeback of the year. I think The Rock begrudgingly coming back and doing this entire thing hasn't really fulfilled all of his obligations yet in terms of the full comeback. So I'm not going to give it to him. It comes between two people that were in Team Bad way back in the day. We got Mercedes Moné. You don't mess with the CEO. And of course, Naomi, who was Trinity in Impact. She had an amazing year, came back at the Royal Rumble, has had really great bangers, been kind of just like at the surface trying to just claw her way back to that top tier. But I will say this much. As much as I don't want to give it to her, she's the biggest star in this category. I'm going to give it to Mercedes Moné.
I did not expect this. I thought for sure you were going to come on this program and shit on her being nominated.
No, look, I will say this much. I was going to give it to Naomi, but she hasn't done enough yet to get the full comeback. The Rock is a big fucking deal coming back, but in my opinion, he didn't really do much except that tag match. So I feel like we're kind of not there. The Wyatt Six to me feels like it's kind of like it's been a great, thing for them. But I just feel like Mercedes, in terms of like the amount of match quality, she's there. Now, if we keep the mic out of her hand, she's a full comeback, but we'll get there someday.
So I also agree. The Wyatt Six is 4 for me. It's awesome. And their comeback was a great moment. And they've over-delivered in terms of my expectations. I'm pretty open about that because I had very low expectations. But it was cool to see that type of thing because Bray was such an inspirational and impactful type character. It was cool to see not necessarily the individuals coming back, but like that aura return in the form of these individuals. And that's why I think it's a deserving nominee. And I'm appreciative of that. I think it was a void that was left both on screen and in our hearts that has been fulfilled a little. And I think it over-delivered. So well deserving. This honestly, I think it's a category that maybe at first you don't think is strong, but then it's like, I think it's pretty strong because the points you raised about Naomi, I think are absolutely correct. I think she's been very good since she's come back. She definitely upped her game even more than it already was in TNA. We've kind of talked about in recent weeks that we're kind of hopeful that she's the one that to attack Jade and, hopefully see that play out and see her do something she's never done before. But she's third for me. To me, it comes down to CEO, and the final boss. And you gave it to the CEO, Nestlemania. That surprises me. It really did. Because I think we enjoy shitting on AEW so much. And I think a lot of people have this year because it's been such a tough year. And Mercedes is kind of an easy target because this is someone who literally changed the game in so many ways in WWE. Like she had more firsts than anyone, being a part of almost anything. She goes off, gets injured, follows her dreams of trying different things and kind of blazing her own path. So I think it kind of made her an easy target. And then when she comes back from injury, she finally signs with AEW. She wins some titles. And like you mentioned, the character work, it's been much maligned. But you also mentioned in the ring, she's putting on bangers. And I honestly think her run in AEW hasn't been that bad. And I know she's happy. And I think that's great. And she's going to get to wrestle in the Tokyo Dome soon, which I know is a dream of hers. It's like one of the number one thing on her checklist. She's finally going to get to do it. And I know that's a big deal for her in her career and in her heart. But I'm not giving her my comeback of the year, Nestlemania, like you did. I'm giving it to fucking Dwayne. Because this motherfucker, I'm not a Rock hater because I appreciate what The Rock is. and I'm not saying you're a Rock hater, but you like to like really emphasize some of the things, the reasons why The Rock can be like a negative sometimes, and I don't disagree with those. But The Rock came back, and he had this own delusioned expectations for himself. And he wanted to fucking trample on my dreams as a Cody crybaby. And they tried to do it. And it fucking failed. And you can say what you want about The Rock. He's an egomaniacal fucking psycho. Black Adam loving motherfucker. And you can call that a failure. I enjoyed the movie, but it was a failure. The Rock did transition. He did do these things. He did do what he had to do and adjusted for the betterment of the business. And obviously, whenever The Rock comes back, The Rock has come back, it's a big deal. But I think it's the best comeback of 2024 because he bought in. This guy didn't have to buy in. They didn't have to change the script. I mean, we pretty much forced their hand, but The Rock is the fucking Rock. If he wanted to do something, he could have fucking shit in Triple H's pie and been like, it doesn't matter what you think. And the fucking TKO people would have been like, yeah, you're the fucking Rock. You're Dwayne. You're like an ownership stake. You're in charge. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But he didn't. He did see the light. Took him a while, but he did. And I think he impacted in a very positive way at the beginning of 2024. So much and so that I fully expect him to reinsert himself soon. And he will be a big deal. And look, we are Rock haters, as like we kind of said. But it's undeniable when this man comes back, he makes an impact. And for me, as much as I love Mercedes, The Rock is getting my golden knocker for the biggest comeback of 2024.
Are we in a weird, bizarro world right now?
No, it's just one of those things like, look, I have my biases, but I always am very steadfast. And I tell you that I don't let those affect the way I think things, as much as you think they might be. Because Cody, one of the greats, Mercedes, one of the greats, it can come off that way. But Nestlemania, even though I have a big heart, I care about a lot of things. I fight for the people I love. I come on here. I spread the gospel of Shelton Benjamin as much as I can. I spread the gospel of Giovanni Vinci as much as I can. As an Italian, fuck y'all. But Nestlemania, I am an unbiased, unpartisan party. And sometimes I got to tell you what it is. So The Rock, he came back, and he gets my comeback of the year of 2024 because I'm JC, and I don't lie, bro.
Well, I need a palate cleanse after that because my head is spinning after these picks. So, Michael, hit us with another category, won't you please?
Full Circy Moment of the Year. Awesome Truth reuniting and winning the tag team titles at WrestleMania. OG Bloodline reuniting to challenge New Bloodline. Private Party beating the Young Bucks for the tag title 5 years after their moment. Solo Sikoa becoming tribal chief at MSG a year before he stared at the lay before it went to Roman.
You spin my head right round in a full circy, full circy. New category for 2024 in WrestleMania. Full circy moment of the year. You just heard from Michael Downing. And look, this was obviously, it's a gimmick. It's one of the JC things that I bring up a lot, a full circy moment. It's a beautiful thing about wrestling. When a storyline or a moment or something comes, full circy. It might have been something that, a little bit of mouth diarrhea that I had in the moment, but sometimes those things take on a life of their own. Story of my life. Some people put their feet in their mouth, and then some people, when they do it, they spit out their feet and they make feet better. Feet are disgusting. Never put them in your mouth. If you do that, it's gross. I'm also not judging you. If you have a foot fetish, I apologize, but it's fucking gross. Fucking disgusting. Shame on you. But I'm not shaming, but shame on you. But that's not the point of this category. As you heard, Michael Downing, there were some moments this year, like Awesome Truth. A moment in time that they captured. Feuding with CM Punk and John Cena, took on a life of its own, but they never really got the championships to back it up. They did in 2024. So that Nestlemania, spin it right around, full circy moment. The OG Bloodline, I mean, come on. Nothing more full circuit than them reuniting to challenge the New Bloodline because, sometimes with a story you end right back where you started. And that's what happened here. Also, Private Party and the Young Bucks. We were there in the audience when they pulled that massive upset. One of the early episodes of AEW, that tag team tournament, 8 beat the 1. And they beat them again, not so many, but this time for the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Shocking that Private Party, it took them, I believe it was 5 years since the moment they won. And then, of course, Solo Sikoa. This is what I love about the Triple H era. The attention to detail. It was the year Solo Sikoa crowned himself the tribal chief at MSG this year. But it was 1 year previously, exactly in the same venue, where there was that slight little moment, the things you have to pay attention to in the Triple H era, where he was staring at that Umafala on Roman Reigns, putting the little breadcrumb out there that, like, I want that someday. And in a full circuit moment, he got it a year later. So NestleMania, now that Triple H is in charge, we're getting a lot more of these. And I look at this category, it's 3 WWE main roster, but there is 1 AEW. So there is hope that Tony Khan does have a little bit more long-term memory than the cocaine might allow him. But what you got in this category?
I'm going to immediately stomp all over Private Party because it was like 3 years too late.
It was like 3 months too late, too.
It was unreal. Like, it was just like enough already. So that's not the full circuit moment I'm looking for, folks. I'm not even going to give it to Awesome Truth. Although it was a cool moment, I really enjoyed it. It's not.
They kind of floundered the aftermath with
yeah,
it. It does kind of leave a sour taste.
Yes, not like your wine. Your Pardon. What was it again? Your Pardon Blue.
More than half this bottle's gone.
I know you're a wine boozer. I'm gonna either give it to the OG Bloodline, reuniting, or Solo. I think as much as I like the Solo becoming, the tribal chief at MSG, I think it's really more interesting, like you said, where it was the discipline of having them be a huge faction, having them break up, all individually have problems and have to individually come back together to win against the new bloodline. I think just based on the entirety of how hard it was to have all those moving pieces come back together, the complexity of that storyline, and still to this day, the OG bloodline coming back together gets my golden knocker. Because like I said, there's just layer upon layer like an onion, and it doesn't stink. It's just more, the more you do, the more you like it. So I think that this is going to get my golden knocker here.
I couldn't have put it this better myself. I completely agree. That Solo moment was an awesome moment in callback, but it gets one-upped when you actually reunite the OG bloodline. Because think about the stories we got with Roman and Jay and Jimmy and Sammy. And to bring that full circuit is literally the definition of why this exists. tpublic.com/jobberknocker to pick yours up today. But that's literally that's not the right word. The reason why this award exists. And Michael, before I fuck more shit up and knock over my mic, give me the next category.
Match of the year: Ospreay versus Takeshita, AEW Revolution. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania 40. Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles, Backlash. Swerve versus Ospreay, Forbidden Door.
We are now in the big old finish, folks. This is it, Match of the Year 2024. We've got an amazing variety here of what could potentially be the match of the year in 2024.
Perfect 10 matches, you might say?
Maybe, perhaps. Maybe 10 stars in the Tokyo Dome if David has his way, but that's okay. Anyway, we've got Ospreay and Takeshita at Revolution, which was wow. Fan me, baby. Paint me like your French girls. And then we have Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40, which again is a classic for different reasons in different ways. We also have Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles at Backlash, which was a banger. It was pretty ridiculous, the amount of effort that went through that match. I had to go back and watch that because I completely forgot how amazing that match and that crowd in France was fucking all over the place with that one. And of course, Swerve and Ospreay at Forbidden Door. That was right before things got too hairy for both of them. They were kind of at their peak individually. So them coming together was like this massive feeling of just athleticism and swag. So I just really love all four of these. I think TJ and JC, I was going to call you JK, had a great time probably throughout the entire year. This is probably the one I think for you guys is the hardest.
It is. Usually we have about like 11 to 12 matches and we need help narrowing them down. It's funny. This year we had 5 or 6. And it just is one of those, like, I feel like the latter half of the year, we didn't really get much additions. So it kind of made it easier that we just only had to pick and choose between a few. So it's not to say there weren't great matches this year. It's just like, I think it's just the level has been raised in terms of the level of matches, the expectation that we see absolute banner of a matches and we're like, yeah, that was amazing. But like, we got this, and this as the match of the year. So I think we're in a very cool time in wrestling where it's just like almost everything we say, I think now is elevated. So to really stand out, it's got to be great. And I think these 4 encapsulated that greatness of 2024.
I think for me, it's not fair to do this, but it's kind of how I feel. I feel like you can only pick one Ospreay match. Like I feel like
Cody matches here too. You have 2 Ospreay matches, 2 Cody matches.
That's fair. That's fair. I would say you're not gonna like my decision here, but I feel like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns is 4 for me.
Ooh, that's interesting. That's in my top 2.
Okay, that's fine. You're looking at it as the moment. I'm not saying the match itself.
To me, I'm always a total package guy. You know what I mean? So it's just like that's part of it. I'm actually putting, and man, I love this match. So saying this, you know how much this pains me. I'm putting Cody AJ 4, but in terms of technical, that could be an argument for number 1. But overall, I have to put it 4, and I hate that because I love that fucking match.
I also love that match. That's not my winner, but it's up there. I would say I'm gonna put Cody and Roman at 4 based on the Gaga. It wasn't necessarily the best. Again, I'm looking for great wrestling, which it did have. It had a lot of Gaga. Clearly, it had the great moment. But I just feel like I think people will always romanticize about the moment of it and not necessarily remember. Like before the last 5 minutes of that match, I feel like there was just kind of like arbitrarily cinema things happening, which is not a big deal, but it's just not my cup of tea in terms of different things. The last 5 minutes in the celebration, that was fucking amazing. So that'll be an all-timer. I personally loved Swerve and Ospreay at Forbidden Door because I think both of those men are fucking special in their own right, but they didn't wow me like another match did. So I'm going to put them at 3. They're going to put them at 3 as well. Like I said, I'm going to put Cody and AJ at 2, even though it was a fucking banger of a banger of a banger. And just everything that went through, like the table spot and like all the other shit that I remember was just amazing. But there's something about Takeshita. And when I first saw this guy, I was like, who is this motherfucker? I do not think he's special. I don't understand him. I don't get it. I just wrote him off. Boy, was I wrong. You know, like, and then when you watch Ospreay versus Takeshita, I remember going back and watching that several times and in awe of the athletic ability of both of those men. Takeshita's a big motherfucker, by the way. So like to him to be able to do that shit is amazing. I don't know if he's the best belt machine yet, but he's on his way. And Will Ospreay, unearthly, just amazing in that aspect. And I will remember this match for so many different reasons, but it was the kind of the coming out story of both men at the same time. So that's why I feel like based on everything here from bell to bell in it being the match, I'm going to pick this as my golden knocker of the match of the year for 2024.
So that's one of my final 2. Cody Roman and Ospreay Takeshita, obviously for very different reasons. And man, these are 2 things I will never forget for obviously, like I just mentioned, different reasons. That Cody, it was definitely more emphasis on the moment. You did mention the last 5 minutes. I think it was already. I really enjoyed every aspect of that match because I thought everything they did mattered and made sense and was part of the story. But I also think technically it was very enjoyable to watch as well. And everything it was made sense. And when I romanticized and fantasized about how that would all play out in my head, it was similar to that, but like beautiful in a different way. So I think it not only lived up to my expectations, but obviously with the finality and the celebration surpassed it and really solidified it as my favorite moment in wrestling history. But Nestlemania, what you said about Takeshita is 100% true. I didn't get it. I was like, okay, this guy technically he's great, whatever. But it's like, I haven't seen it. He gets in the ring with Will Ospreay Nestlemania, and I fucking saw it. And I was blown away. I instantly, when I saw this match, I was like, I don't know how this isn't my match of the year. I don't know how. It had everything, and it blew me away. And I was like, these 2 guys, whenever they meet, I will have to watch every frame. Every frame. Every time they meet, because what they did at Revolution blew me away. That is also my match of the year of 2024. Cody Roman, incredible. In some other years, probably would have been an easy win for me because of everything else. Checked every single box I need to check. But sometimes there's just a match, a standalone, where it's just like, I remember it, and I remember it clearly, and I remember how I felt watching it, especially that first time, the impact it made on me, and it forever changed my view of Takeshita. My Will Ospreay view. I mean, look, the second I saw this guy and some of the stuff I've seen before he was ever over here, I was just like, oh, this fucking guy is fucking perfect. I love him. But Takeshita, I didn't get it, and then I got it, and these two fucking put on a masterclass, and I look forward to what they do in the future. It is also my match of the year for 2024. Michael, we got 2 left, baby. How about that meat?
Meet Superstar of the Year. Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed, Ivar, Oba Femi.
Nestlemania. I'm a carnivore. Have been. I mean, literally, JC's meat match of the week became a thing this year because there's so much good meat on these rosters. So many meaty, delicious superstars who bring a different aspect to wrestling. It's an underappreciated art because a lot of the times you think of meaty superstars, you think big, oafy, slow, plotting. Not no more, baby. We already talked about Bronson Reed on the show. You know how I feel about my boy Braun. We've talked about Oba Femi. There's so much good meat to go around WrestleMania that we had to make it a new category. And it is the final new category for 2024. And it's in the big old finish because sometimes when you have a big slab of meat in WrestleMania, you're full. And that's all you can handle. And you heard Michael just run through these superstars. That's a lot of meat. Braun, Bronson, Oba, and then Ivar. Ivar finishes the year as a tag team champion, but Ivar was on his own for a lot in WrestleMania in 2024 because Eric was out. And Ivar stepped up. And he was one of those guys that they'd put him in a match on Raw, and it would be a banger. Whether it was with another meaty guy or a little guy, didn't matter. Banger. But it's one of those things. I call it the Baron Corbin method. You put a big meaty guy with a little guy, and it's a fucking delicious meal. And we all love it. But sometimes you take a big meaty Braun and you put him with a big meaty Bronson, and you get some of the most fun we had in 2024 in WrestleMania. So I'm curious, which one of these big old slabs of meaty men gave you the most satisfaction in 2024?
I mean, I'm slobbering all over this meat. I'll be honest. I mean, it's Braun Strowman, we all love, right? Big oaf, but man, is he great. Bronson Reed, we said breakout year for him.
Tsunami!
Ivar, just out of nowhere, making something out of nothing. Love him. And just personal favorite of mine. And Oba Femi, we talked about just unit, right? I mean, you can't be meat without being a fucking unit, right? You need to have a fucking unit to be meaty. And so my thought here is, as much as I love Oba Femi, not necessarily the meat I'm looking for right now. Ivar, Viking meat, not for me. Not picking either of those two. Now, what? It's true. He's a Viking.
Okay, not anymore. He's
so we
go now. War.
War meat.
Viking meat. It just sounds funny.
Viking meat.
Go to Valhalla to get that on your plate.
Valhalla, holla, 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 player. Look, so we got Braun and Bronson, and those two came together in a colossal last monster standing match. And we'll be honest here, Meat Monster is what they both were. These were Godzilla versus King Kong kind of feelings this entire time. They pulled the rug out from underneath us one night. We thought we were going to get it and nothing happened. And then we got another match and another thing. And it just kept on going and going. And they had that awesome lead up graphic where they were destroying things and shit. So to me, I would give it to both of them if I could. However, when I look at meat and I think bulbous, fatty, big, just juicy meat, I look at Bronson Reed and think that man is a ball of meat. So he's getting my meat superstar of the year because he is girthy. He's big. He's just right for the right. He is like prime fucking rib meat. He gets my fucking golden knocker.
Some would say that man could feed a family and then some. Look I'm kind of on the same page. Oba Femi. Oh my God, I love that man. And Ivar, great year. Had some fantastic stuff, especially in the middle when he was on his own. He's 4, Oba's 3. But Braun and Bronson, they met. Braun came out on top which would make you think that he might be my main superstar of the year, but NESTLEMANIA. I didn't give him my whatever category he was in before. I'm a little tipsy here, so I can't remember where I put him. I don't feel like scrolling up, but I'm giving it to him here as well. Bronson Reed is the meat superstar of the year because he was a meat tsunami, all in Seth Rollins' face. He was part of War Games. He became a one. Well, the not ones, as Jay and Jimmy would say. But Bronson Reed broke out. It was breakout superstar, wasn't it? But he broke out in a meaty way. And it really stood out. And like you said, that is a big hunk of fucking meat. He can feed not one family, not two family, not three families, not four. He can probably feed 5 fucking families. He's a big fucking slab. And he's a stud, absolute stud. And he deserves to be the 2024 meat superstar of the year because this man had bangers, NESTLEMANIA. He had absolute bangers, consistent bangers. So Bronson Reed, man, you're getting our meat superstar knocker, baby. This is the juiciest, most delicious knocker. But we only have one set left, NESTLEMANIA, to give out. And Michael, why don't you tell us what that is right now?
Jobber of the Year, Chelsea Green, J.D. McDonough, Karrion Kross, R-Truth.
It's time for the main event. Jobber of the Year. And listen, folks, it's our namesake. We put it last because we love jobbers. We love enhancement talents. We love people who put other people over. We love people who do things the right way on this, endeavor that is professional wrestling. We've got four studs in this category. We've got Chelsea Green, J.D. McDonough, Karrion Kross, and R-Truth all making different cases for who's the biggest, best jobber of the year. Now, it could be win-loss record. It could be that they just get, they lose quickly. Maybe it's that they're just getting beat up over beat up over beat up. Maybe they're a jobber to the stars. We don't know. Maybe they're just the guy that gets beat a lot to get to the other guy. We don't know. But I will say this much. All of them here. It's a long way to get to Jobber of the Year, folks. There's a lot of jobber alerts. But to me, this is a clear-cut race. I'm not even going to waste any of your time, folks. I'm going to tell you right now it's not R-Truth.
R-Truth is nominated pretty much every year in this category. Deservedly so. But I agree, NESTLEMANIA. He is also my number 4 in 2024. What else?
It is not J.D. McDonough.
We might have to have a deeper discussion about that because he might be my winner, but I'm not sure yet.
I don't believe, in my opinion of what a jobber is, he's the essence of what we need. Now, as much as I was thinking about giving it to Karrion Kross, I don't believe I can give it to Karrion Kross, even though the hair's on point right now. And he has been losing an awful lot and still continuing to really figure out, even when he loses, he still turns people heel and makes them better versions of themselves. So in a way, he is helping them along and enhancing their talent. Right? However, there is one selfless person on this roster throughout the last year, just eating crow, getting things thrown on top of her. She had a slop drop. Remember they got her on all that gross stuff and she smelled backstage. She will do any comedy bit. She lost in a dumpster match. She's lost every conceivable way in fast, slow motion, by accident, act of God. It doesn't matter. She just continues to lose. And then at the end of the year, finally gets a little bit of an exclamation point. But the rest of the year, folks, I went back and looked at hashtag jobber alert. Her name came up the most. I think she is a selfless human being who wants to help others as well as herself. And I think she's made the best out of every opportunity. That's what a jobber does. Enhances people better around them. That's what we do on this podcast. I'm giving it to Chelsea motherfucking Green because she is a fucking stud who enhances everything and everyone.
I don't disagree. Chelsea's a stud. I love her. And she's ending the year as a champion, which is awesome. I love it. But she's not my winner, NESTLEMANIA. She's my number 3. Because to me, it came down to J.D. McDonough and Karrion Kross. I've been big on that. Karrion Kross is the ultimate enhancement talent. The ultimate. What he has done. He has developed into this role where he literally creates people and sends them on a new path. But he's not my winner either. Because you talked about win-loss record. And you talked about jobber to the stars. And I talk about this all the time. Finn Balor, He's been the jobber to his stars for like a decade in WWE. His fucking motherfucking protege JD is like, hey, buddy Finn, I'm going to do the same fucking thing. This dude, absolute banners of matches, enhances, makes everyone look good. But one thing he does is always lose. Except for the one time he won the tag team titles. And he's such a good jobber in WrestleMania. They couldn't have him defend those titles, so he couldn't lose them. So he was a champion for like 6 months. Defended those things like twice. But JD McDonough is my jobber of the year for 2024. I think these are all good nominees. My boy Giovanni Vinci was we had a longer list of nominees. He's definitely someone who deserved to be here, but it was one of those things, they repackage him, he comes out, he jobs. That's kind of what he does. It's a funny thing, but it's one of those dissipated from television. JD McDonough, Chelsea Green, Karrion Kross, R-Truth, staples of our television. So it's hard to deny any of them as nominees. We're in similar pages. I'm giving it to JD. You're giving it to Chelsea. Both studs. Two of my favorite people in 2024. And I'm glad both got a taste of championship gold. That's what makes this category even sweeter for me. Because it is kind of a choose your own adventure category. But it's like two people that are so good at enhancing everyone around them. And they have a lot of losses. But the beauty of WWE is that means you don't necessarily can't win a championship. And both people prove that. So JD McDonough, Chelsea Green, you're ending the year as 2024 as our Golden Knocker winners. Well deserved. In WrestleMania, we're not going to see these good people till 2025. That makes me a little sad.
Well, JC, we've had quite the year. We've had a lot to talk about, a lot of things to do. You've changed more wardrobe changes than Taylor Swift.
You should see the war zone on my floor right now.
And that's usually when he has a woman involved.
Women don't have this many t-shirts, bro.
Maybe they're wearing your t-shirts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they might.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, we want to thank all of you. If you've made it this far, you are a hardcore knocker, and in every sense of the way, hardcore jobber as well. I can't believe if you are listening to this that you're at the end of this. I appreciate all of you. We appreciate all of you who listen, who interact with us, who watch, whatever. You hate us, you love us. It doesn't matter. We love all of you, and we love to be hated on too, so it does not affect our lives because every Tuesday at 8 p.m., we're here having a good time. We don't care about monetizing. We don't care about being superstars. We don't care about being famous and viral. We care about a creative outlet where each week we can yell at each other to blow off some fucking steam and have fun with our friends. This is what we do because we love it. I want to thank everybody as part of the Jobber Knocker crew. I'm going to forget somebody, but hopefully JC is not too trashed. We've got, of course, TJ, who does an amazing job specifically just on this right here with all year round. He does Mr. Predictions. He's Mr. NXT. He's an overall help on the website as well as he does with the t-shirt designs. TJ's an unsung hero there. We've got, the Joe Stopper, Mr. Collision Cowboy himself doing AEW, which is like painful to me for sit-through. So I can only imagine him spinning it in a positive way. Our boy Dommy Feds, Mr. Dommy Impact, telling us anything that goes on in TNA. Our boy Ray, who's always good for a good story and helping us out, socializing and keeping WWE strong. I got our boy Danny 1N, who just overseas is just kind of just one of these wonderful people who we did never, ever thought in a million years that we would reach over the pond and make a friend, let alone many friends. And he has been such a great person to have on just in our life. I don't even want to say this isn't a job to me. So this is fun for us. And I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Did I miss anybody? Our boy Conway, of course, as well, who does amazing things for New Japan and keeps us honest and ready to go.
I want to shout out our boy Guthrie, who still does our intro. I believe he was a guest on the program in 2024. Our boy Doc also was a fill-in.
That's true.
In 2024, yeah. And all the ones of Christmas past, so to speak, that have impacted. Thank you to all as well. But WrestleMania, the most important is our audience. The people who come in, not only the people who listen, there are the silent people, but the ones who come in every week, comment. We appreciate that. Whether it's live on the show, if you give us 5-star 5 flames on whatever platform, that's helpful too. A like, a share. Interacting with us in general, we love it, but it makes it a lot more fun for us. We kind of change the way we do things, whether it was last year or the year before we started doing this video and the live shows and the live comments. And I think it's really added an element to these shows, which I think is super fun. So shout out to all of you and thank all of you because like Nestle said, we're doing this for fun. But part of the reason why we still do it and take time out of our weeks to do it is because we enjoy interacting with all of you. So thank you. I look forward to another great 2025 NestleMania when we do, we're we got an exciting year coming up. We got the Royal Rumble hopes coming here at the end of January and so on and so forth. So a lot of good things coming in 2025, and it's all thanks to all of you. So thank you. And yeah, we'll see you next year.
To infinity and beyond.